3 weeks have passed since the start of the 2020 GNCC season, and we've seen Walker Fowler come out on top at both rounds. In the ATV division, the battle is brewing behind him. We come to Aonia Pass MX this weekend for round 3 of the Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. 2 hours of action-packed ATV racing is coming up. You're watching the Specialized General GNCC, live on Racer TV.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Hello and welcome to round 3 of the 2020 GNCC Series presented by Specialized, an AM8 National Championship. Live coverage today on RacerTV.com is brought to you in part by Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. I'm Rodney Tomlin alongside Megawatt Matt Watson, Landon Wolf, and Tyler Shepard to give you the call. And just a short week ago, we were at the Sandy Wildboard GNCC in Palatka, Florida. Walker Fowler took his second win of the season, followed by Bryson Neal and Cole Richardson in third. We saw amazing battles, and it's anyone's game on the podium as this season goes on. In XC2, Walker Fowler's teammate, the WFR Landsmill XC Drew Landers, took the win as he leads the points championship after 2 rounds, followed by Jordan Poplawski and newcomer Brandon Frazier rounding out the podium. We've talked about the racing, and there's a lot more to come. Now let's welcome junior trail boss Jared Bolton to give us an overview of this weekend's track.
Thanks, guys. Welcome back to beautiful Georgia. On a personal note, this is one of my all-time favorite courses. There's a little something for everyone out there, and I know what you're thinking. Here he goes again saying that. But that really holds true here at the General. There's really fast sections, and we've also got some super, super tight single track for the bikes on Sunday. There's a reason so many racers show up for this course, because it's a lot of fun. The biggest thing about this course is the red clay. It gets super slick when it's wet, and when it gets dry, it gets super hard packed and it gets dusty. We could see both this weekend. Who knows what's going to be out there? All I know is it's going to be a great weekend of racing here in Georgia. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jared. Now let's get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with live coverage on the starting line in just a couple minutes. And welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Bryson Neal now as we get set to set the stage for today's big battle here at the General GNCC. Bryson, I tell you, you've had a whale of an opener as far as the season goes. Last weekend, as a matter of fact, nearly grasping a win, but that one's slipping away from you, and I know you've had a lot of time to think about that this week.
Yeah, it's been a short week. Just going to go out here today, try to keep the rope tight, do the same thing, get out front, and man, as long as we're in that top 2 battle down to the finish and we're there, man, we're going to be happy. If not, we'll go home and work hard, we'll come back. How it is.
That's how it is, and Bryson Neal knows what it's like. You spent a lot of time up in the cold white north this winter training in Ohio. Down here in the warm Georgia sunshine, it's got to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah, I was real pumped coming out of Florida. A lot of these guys have been down here in 80-degree weather, you know, and I've been enjoying it myself this past week. It's been so nice, but yeah, I was super pumped, you know, never rode in a day above 50 degrees, so us pumped. So we're looking forward to today. Track's awesome. Looks like it's shaping up to be a beautiful day. So yeah, hopefully everyone has a good day. Everyone stays safe, and let's go GNCC racing.
Well, it's going to be a hot day today for Bryce and Neil. Will it be the right kind of hot? We'll have to wait and see. But first, let's meet our starting lineup. Rolling to the line first today, he is a 5-time GNCC champion. Hailing from Rogers, Ohio on a factory-packed Yamaha. He's also supported by WFR and Lands Mill XC Racing, GBC Tires and Fly Racing, Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line today, second in points, he rides aboard the number 4. Hailing from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania on an action off-road GBC MotoWaz Teely Energy Racing Yamaha, the Coltrane, Cole Richardson. Third to the line today, he rides aboard the number 5 from Casca, Pennsylvania on a Maxxis Elka Moose Racing backed Honda. They call him the Sneaky Snake. We also know him as the Cobra, the number 5 of Jared McClure. Rolling to the line today, fourth in points. He rides aboard the number 7, a sophomore. He took the season-ending win at Ironman GNCC last year on a Maxxis Ithaca Recreation Sports WPS Fly Racing Yamaha, Hunter Hart. To the line, fifth today in points, riding aboard the number 3. He has the most wins of any GNCC racer of all times at 75, 6 national championships. Out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania on a Phoenix Racing Honda, Team Honda, Chris Borich. Currently ranked 6th in points, riding aboard the number 11, fresh from the Daytona ATV Supercross from Akron, Ohio on a B&R Motorsports, GBC Motorsports, Hauser Racing Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Riding aboard the number 2 from Bidwell, Ohio, a near win just a week ago on a CST Hauser Racing Waynesburg Yamaha, Bryson Neal. Rolling to the line today, 8th in points. He rides aboard the number 10, celebrating his 26th season as a GNCC Pro from Aurora, Ohio, backed by GBC, Fly Racing, HMF, and Factory Yamaha, Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher. Up next, the 521, 9th in points. Hailing from Waverly, West Virginia, the McGill Mafia, Ober Tires, LSR Moose Racing Honda, Adam the Gator McGill. He rolls to the line today, 10th in points, riding aboard the number 712, the rookie from Waxhaw, North Carolina on a Pierce Performance Fly Racing Maxxis Tires Yamaha, John Glotta Jr. Riding aboard the number 701, he hails from Ithaca, New York on a custom Axis Goldspeed Hauser Racing Yamaha, Greg Covert. The 741, also fresh from the ATV Supercross at Daytona International Speedway. He hails from Myersville, Maryland on the 741, Wolf Racing 9.2 FTR Graphics Yield Cycle Barn Suzuki, Wesley. Specialized General GNCC. It's round number 3 of this 2020 GNCC season. And of course, as the stage is set, the hearts begin to pound as the adrenaline begins to flow as nearly 200 riders across this starting line today are feeling the energy of going GNCC racing here today as we turn our attention to Ricky Towery up in turn number 1. As we always like to say, our maestro, if you will, the conductor of ceremonies, as he will be conducting and orchestrating this sequence of starts that are coming up before you here in just a few moments. And friends, let me tell you, a lot on the line. Just a week ago in the sands of Florida, we saw the pressure's being applied to your 5-time GNCC champion, but he rose to the occasion and struck like lightning. Will he be able to make that strike again? He's won for the last 3 years in a row right here in the soils of Georgia. On board that #1 machine, can Walker Fowler make it 4 wins in a row as Ricky Towery begins the start sequence and lets these riders know we are just down to 1 minute now. 1 minute away from going GNCC racing. And this is the time when things really start to heat up for these riders. Their last few moments of rituals being taken place here as they begin to make that long stare up toward the first turn. Their hearts begin to pound and their eyes begin to tighten as Ricky Towery lets them know. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing. And I got to ask you, Georgia race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? You know what? I think you guys can do a little bit better than that. So I'm going to ask you one more time, Georgia. Are you ready to go GNCC? 10 seconds. And row #1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling here at the Specialized General GNCC. A clean start as all riders dive into that first turn, and it's the #3 of Chris Borch on the Maxxis Beck Phoenix Racing Honda, grabbing the dirt and gripping the traction. It is Walker Fowler in the #2 spot as we go down the row #2 and get them sorted out. Drew Landers, Jordan Poplawski, Ben Kalaluke, Tanner Walker, Michael McAvoy, Charles Dunn, Cole Setzer, Kenny Schick, Brandon Owens, Nick Royalton, Levi Cohen, Noah Mickelson, Cameron Bruce, Wyatt Wilkin, Dylan Walraven, Austin Abney, Ronnie Rush, Brandon Frazier, and Pierre Dunol, all ready to roll in 10 seconds. And they're off. 19 riders across that starting line, and they go side by side, and it's the 7-14 out front early on of Rocket Ron Rush out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the Bulletproof Doors Teely Energy Surge Graphics back machine. Senior A 40-plus class, Michael Hayes, Jeff Harvey, Shane Firth, Jason Noble, TJ Barrett, Mark Patson, and Dale Patson, and Jason Walker all ready to roll in 10 seconds. The Senior A, the 40-plus riders off and rolling here in the 451 of TJ Barrett from Morrisville, New York on the Rick Snyder Bear Brothers Auto O'Neill machine, grabbing the early lead. Oh, he gets the needle threaded on him, drops into second out of that second turn now. College A 16 to 21-year-old class, Dalton Keys, Andrew Manofsky, Mike Rice, Grayson Eller, Jaron Dawkins, Aaron Vickery, Brandon Clark, Cody Forrester, Davis Prince, and Trey Seifert, Chase Ellis, and Seth Wilson. 10 seconds. Gavin Jenkins, Corey Vandelander, Casey Simmons, Cameron Abey, and Mikey Nichols. And they're off. Whoa, Grayson Eller from the extreme inside, going to thread that needle in that first turn. Can he hang on to it? He does. The Phoenix Racing Honda of Grayson Eller grabbing the lead with the 852 Casey Simmons from Coolville, Ohio in that second place position. Junior A 22-plus class, Ben Danner, Nick Davidson, Justin Miller, Jeremy Laton, Caleb Edwards, Zach Wright, Brandon Solsby, Alex Elioff, Jade Millwood, Dylan Taylor, James Pat Lane, Emily Wise, Justin Eisen, also Jonathan Cryenbull, Troy Gum, Colton Kendall, Brody Livingood, Brett Hinkey, and Tyler Nivens in 10 seconds. Wow, look at this, the queen of the pole shots. Can she do it? Emily Wise, the Junior A 22-plus class. It's a drag race, and she will do it. Emily Wise gets the early lead. She's out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, the Waynesburg Yamaha. Barnhart's Honda Outlaw Motorsports. Yes, I said she. Bet A 30-plus class. Coming up next, we're talking about Jeff Pickens, Big Papa B, Brad Whitehead, Chris Conklin, Aaron Hendershot, James Green, Will Jones, also Ben Parham, Tommy Koontz, Zachary Phillips, Todd Muscala, the Marlboro Man, Neil Pitts, and Michael Lancaster in 10 seconds. And Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens, like a shot out of a gun once again. Out front of this pack on board the 21 machine, the 807 of Michael Lancaster out of Morgantown, West Virginia in second. Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens, brought to us by GBC Motorsports, Waynesburg, Yamaha, and Fly Racing. Down to the Senior B 40-plus class next. We got Greg Phillips, Chris Turin, Scott Wilhelm, John Kaplan. 10 seconds. Daniel Dakota, Ivo Pahalik, Russell Fry, Jason Flaviano, Bobby McCauley, Kenneth Yarbrough, Nick Lambruno, Robert Stevens, Dallas Sanders, and Scott Jonas. Around the first turn, getting it sorted out now. That is the 421. That is Jason Flaviano from Gyrard, Ohio on a BNR GBC Fly Racing back machine. College B, 16. 21-year-old Stan the Man Johnson, Sam Eisen, Braylon Secura, Colby Clark, Keaton Klonks, also Ian Burns, Dominic Stevens, Ramey Wilkinson, Michael Schneider. Also looking at Jonathan Figley, Josh Turner, Brylan Williams, Hunter Gonsi, Chance Hickey, Clayton Whitney, Ben Neville, and Caden Ryan, all ready to roll. 10 seconds. Oh, maybe a little bit too early celebrations there. Maybe not. The 230, he makes it happen. Sam Eisen from Metamora, Indiana. A fist pump and nearly overtaken, but was able to keep it up front as they went into that second turn and out of it. Junior B 22-plus class, Travis Mathias, Nick May, Zachary Double, Andy Clarkson, Chris Leake, Ethan Hott, Justin Cotter, Corey Pancake, Jacob Allball, Sean Newhouse, also DJ Wilinitsky, Marcus Ryder, Stephen Martin, and Max Bittinger in 10 seconds. And the Junior B 22-plus class are off and rolling. 5:15, TJ Walensky. Nope, it's the 411 of Jacob Allball from West Milton, Ohio on a JPMX BNR Motorsports LSR backed ride. As we get into the Vet B30-plus class next, we're talking about Nathan Tickle, Jason Dillard, Dominic Ferrito, Daryl Short, David Kite, Thomas Bundy, Ben Dunlap, David Pope, Justin Sullivan, Cody Holcomb, David Ashby, Wesley Smith, and Cody Stewart in 10 seconds. The Vet B30-plus class, our final start of the day, off and rolling. Is that the 119 of Jason Dillard? Let's see. Oh, no. It's going to be the 489 at the stripe of Cody Holcomb from Richwood, West Virginia on a CLH Logging, Midstate Automotive, FLH Trucking backed machine. And that, my friends, will wrap up the start as Jared Bolton heads out on the sweep lap now. To follow along in these guys, we're going to follow along as well here on RacerTV.com with GNCC Live. Stick around. We'll be back in just a couple moments to pick up the action right here on Racer TV.
All right, welcome to the General GNCC here in Washington, Georgia. All starts underway with our Pro ATV action here this afternoon. Making the call here live on RacerTV.com, bringing you all the action as usual. Remember, you'll be able to go home this evening and archive the race on RacerTV.com and watch all the action over again. Catch all the racing that you may have missed. Right now, early on in this one, all classes out clean racing underway right now. Going to be just a moment before we get a little update exactly on what's happening out there on the course. So as we take a look, looks like that might be Walker Fowler has moved his way into the lead. Getting a little glare on that screen right now. We're gonna let this one sort itself out real quick. We're gonna go to a commercial and we'll be right back with all the action.
It's a big world out there. How do you choose to see it? When you crave the long canyons, rocky trails, rutted tracks, and lonely highways, they become a part of you. Podiums and personal records, we choose it all. Because life is about moving and feeling. It's about being connected to the adventure. Some just never pull the trigger. They keep waiting, wondering what it means to wander. It's a big world out there. You just need to ride where you belong.
Inside every Yamaha lives the heart and soul of a competitor. The DNA of a champion. When you ride with us, it revs your heart and becomes a part of you too.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85, and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride. We are American motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young, and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin along with Megawatt Matt Watts and Landon Wolf. And, of course, joining us in booth, one of the legends and greats of off-road racing. Kind of pioneered the 4x4 movement many years ago. We're talking about Mr. Mike Penland. And, Mike, welcome out here to GNCC Live. And welcome back to your home state of Georgia here at the General, man.
Yes, thank you. It's great to be here.
It's an honor to have you here, you know, and I know we haven't had a chance to see you a lot in the last couple of years since the UTVs quit racing and so forth. So what have you been doing with yourself, man?
Just working and going to church.
That's great, man. I love to hear it. Working and going to church. And Mike, I know what made you decide to come out this weekend?
This one's only 125 miles away.
So it made it pretty easy for you to come out with this one. So had a chance to watch some of that 4x4 pro racing earlier today. What did you think about that, knowing that years ago it was just a utility class and you were lucky to get 2 or 3 people in it to see what it's grown into today?
I couldn't believe how many classes and how many rows and how many four-wheel drives. It's just unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend, you are responsible for every bit of that. Your tenacity, your heart, your drive, your dedication to that brand and that style of racing created what we are looking at here today as far as the 4x4 Pro movement. And to that, I want to say thanks, Mike Penland, for doing that, my friend.
Glad to do it. Glad to do it.
And glad to have you here on hand.
Wasn't a big chore.
You just was going out and having fun, wasn't you? Well, we'll get you on Quad Radio pretty soon again. I know it's been a few years since we talked, but we'll get you on Quad Radio. But thanks for stopping by the Racer TV booth and speaking with us, man. That's Mike Penland, the great, and of course, he is, like we said, the man that is single-handedly responsible for the movement of the 4x4 racing programs all across America. He went everywhere. He went to Pikes Peak. He went to GNCC, you name it. If they were racing off-road, he went and they made sure they had a utility class, which eventually turned into the 4x4 class, which eventually turned into some 4x4 pro class racing. Like he said, he can't believe how many different classes of 4x4 ATVs there are this day. And remember, Matt, when we used to first go, when he first started coming, it was like you only seen 3, 4, 5, and then it just started slowly growing and growing and growing, and then all of a sudden it exploded.
And you said the reason for that is Mike Penland. He's the pioneer. That's the bottom line. He knew there was a better way to go racing. He knew that more guys could relate to that type of bike. More guys have that type of bike in the country than, say, standard sport quads and that type of thing. And next thing you know, Mike is lightening up 4x4s. Mike is making 4x4s faster. He's making them jump farther. He's making them handle better.
And you know what's funny? He had the factory rides when nobody else in the world in GNCC had factory sponsorship. Here come Mike Penland on a 4x4 Cowie back in the day with Kawasaki support. I mean, just blows me away. And then, of course, Can-Am came into the market, Polaris and all those, and we see what we've got going today. Well, our leaders now making their way on screen, and it's a guy on a bicycle. Is that Barry Hawk's boy out there? No, I'm just kidding. It is a guy on a bicycle, but we are waiting on our leaders here at the Monster Mile, the 7-mile marker out near that one, Megawatt. And again, as we always like to say on the Monster Mile, it may not be an entire mile, but it is certainly feeling like a mile. There's Walker Fowler out front, and I have to think that may be the number 4 back. No. Is that a red machine? That is still Chris Borich hot on his rear wheels, it looks like, on that Phoenix Racing Honda right now. So
these two kind of shadowing each other in the early part of the race. I almost think that Chris Borch might be hungry enough to try to take a win away today, Wade's ride.
I tell you, he's riding great, but he's in great position. He needs to stay right there. He needs to stay as close to Walker as he can. Wait till some pits come around, and wait till maybe a mistake is made by Walker. But hang in there, learn as much as he can about that new ride of his. They say they've made some adjustments, Rodney, and they're getting it dialed. So maybe get in there, follow Walker's lines a little bit, and use it against him later.
No doubt about it. We see the number 3 spot is at number 7 of the young Hunter Hart. Just an FYI, last year whenever we were at Ironman, that was the first place he had ever taken a class win in his GNCC youth racing career. This is the following year. After that was the first race here in Georgia at Aonia Pass that he took his first ever overall win in the youth class racing there in GNCC. So here he is. You know, he's thinking maybe we might be looking at some sort of an anniversary celebration of some sort. So there he is, third place to kick things off here today. And again, very tightly knit up front between first and second. A little bit of a gap back to the 7 of Hunter Hart. And then a little bit of a gap again back to what looked like a pack of riders dueling it out for the final couple of top 5 positions. Here's Walker Fowler back on screen now here in one of these open field sections. Not sure what mile marker we're at. Probably out near the 8.5 mile marker now. That is still, I believe, that number 3 Phoenix Racing Honda of Chris Borch. Look at that, man. That guy is riding with some aggression right there.
I tell you, that's a guy riding with a purpose. You know, Chris isn't ecstatic about recent results and this and that and finishes, and he needs to make something happen. They've been working on the bike. He's been working on himself. And, you know, right now it's go time as far as the Phoenix Honda team's concerned.
Well, if you were wondering about the muddy conditions here in Georgia, I think these plumes of dust might tell you just exactly where we're sitting at. Look at this as well. We are blessed here a little pre-spring in Georgia. No foliage on the trees, so we're able to get some nice Yamaha Skycam footage here of the battling that's going on, and you can see the speeds that these riders are undertaking through these wood sections right now. Megawatt, the battle for the lead is on. It is Walker Fowler, and shadowing close behind is the Phoenix Racing Honda of Chris Borch back on the red ride. And it's been a while since he's been on this machine, but he was coming with a red machine in 2020, and he got the support there from Phoenix Racing Honda, and you can see what a couple of races and a little bit of dedication can do, can put him right there in the hunt of things, at least early on here in round number 3.
He absolutely can be. But, Rodney, the comment I got to make right now, look at this coverage right now. Look at these camera shots. Our drone pilot, our drone captain is the absolute best.
Yes,
there
he is.
No doubt about this. I've watched every kind of motorized sporting event there is, and a few stick and ball sports. And as far as drone coverage goes, we have the best guy in the game. Able to keep that thing in the air for extended time, able to keep the focus on the main image of the shot, and just incredible coverage that you're not going to get from a standard camera.
Yeah, and we're not. Nick Gross is our drone operator. Nick coming by way of some big operations, and of course with a lot of heart and desire. You know, he's got a lot of experience here working with us over the last couple of years. He's really picked up a lot on this TV gig, and believe it or not, he's just a senior in high school right now.
How about that?
That's amazing.
How about that? And I got to tell you, that's when a young mind learns his trade, learns his craft, and young Nick right now, he's on his A game, no doubt about it. Congratulations to him, and we're pumped to have him. But right now, look at Walker Fowler, just putting that factory Yamaha exactly where it needs to be. He's got that thing out there in front of Chris Borch. Chris not letting him go by any means. And like I said, I think Chris is in an ideal position right now this early in the race, Rodney. Sit back there. You're not feeling any real pressure from Hunter Hart or the rest of the pack right now. So kind of follow Walker's line. Save some energy as much as possible. And when we get to that hour-and-a-half mark, if necessary, that's when we dig deep and use it against him.
Well, I'll tell you, this is a time in the race when Walker Fowler generally likes to go in the checkout mode. And when he goes into checkout mode, it's usually you can't see what's going on, and that gap opens to minutes sometimes over the rest of the field. Well, at least early on here, that second place ride is not going to relinquish sight of the number 1 as we roll through these tree sections out here. And again, great coverage on our Yamaha Skycam. Nick Gross doing a great job with that. And every time it looks like Walker is going to start to stretch things out, that gap between he and second place position starts to tighten up. And every time it looks like he might have some room to breathe, well, he gets the squeeze again, and it makes it tough.
That's 100% true, Rodney. Just a moment ago, easily maybe 15, 20 bike lengths, and within just a matter of a corner or two, down to 8 to 10 bike lengths, cutting that lead in half.
Yeah, and they continue to stretch things out over the third-place position, which Hunter Hart, I believe, is starting to feel some pressure. We saw that third-place battle come through on camera there just a few moments ago. I'm not sure who that was in that number 4 spot. I'm guessing maybe Bryson Neal, maybe even, I'm not sure which quad that Coltrane is racing. I know he's not racing the one that he had in Florida because they tweaked a frame or something on it. They figured that out just prior to the race, so they were busy prepping the practice bike. And the bike that he won on last year, he actually won on the bike. So Cole Richardson has got a familiar and a strong bike out there today. That may be him in that top 4 or 5 position as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll wait with bated breath here at the finish line as we see our leaders should be coming and checking in here in the next few moments. I can hear them on the lower side of the Aonia Pass facility down here. And, of course, they are headed toward, I think, the motocross tracks. No, they probably already hit the moto track. They're probably heading toward the pro pit section, or if not already gone through there. But we shouldn't be long. They'll be at the 12-mile marker at the finish line.
Well, I can tell you, with the pace these guys are carrying, and we look at the morning races this morning, Rodney, you would not believe how close the competition was and the lap times and how close the finishes were. And I tell you, if this is any indication right now early in this race, we're going to see much of the same thing. Chris, like I said, he's in a great position right now. He's within striking distance. He's maybe waiting for a mistake. He's conserving some energy. He's obviously not going to go up there and go tire to tire right now on the first lap because there's no need to whatsoever. And I tell you, quite interesting to see Chris in this position right now. And Walker knows that that's one of the most savvy guys in the game behind him, knows exactly who it is, and going to see if Walker changes up his strategy any.
Wow, just watching this, I'm becoming kind of a race fan. It's hard to keep talking. I'm just in awe at the shot and the way these guys are just barreling through these trees. You know, we've been coming here for a lot of years, and you know, a lot of folks, you know, well, several years now, and the woods are nice and open. The beautiful thing about this time of year, there's not a lot of undergrowth. A lot of that is gone for the early part of the season, and today, as we see, pre-spring, no foliage on the tree, no leaves, so we can see right through there, and we get a great opportunity to watch this racing action from high above in the Yamaha Skycam. And again, I'm just utterly amazed at how well that second place ride has been able to shadow first place pretty much throughout the entire race today. Well, this first lap of racing, we are nearing 26 minutes since the green flag flew on this one. And, you know, it's been this intense since basically the drop of that green flag. Chris Borge nailing that start on that Phoenix Racing Honda, just crossing the finish, the whole shot stripe, probably by about a half a wheel length over the number 1 of Walker Fowler. When they went around the second turn, Chris had the slight advantage with Walker right there, hot on his heels. They were jockeying for position. Everybody behind him trying to get it all sorted out as they went into the wood section. And looks like those two never lifted. They just stayed on the throttle, and they have continued to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Where is second place now? We're starting to see that stretch out a little bit more. So maybe Walker has found a little bit of area to stretch those legs out in and maybe get a little extra speed. No, there is Chris Borge.
Yep.
He's still right there just outside the camera shot there, so he's not losing as much time as I thought there at that initial look at that camera shot. So Chris Borge is still within striking distance, still got Walker Fowler in sight right now.
I tell you, Rodney, a testament to these guys' skill and ability. As you were calling the starts, these guys went through, XC1 and XC2 went through, and then as you started releasing the rest of the lines, I'm going to guess almost every one of those classes got stacked up a little bit because it must be way slicker down there than it looked. The skill with which these guys went through there, 1, 2, 3, but it seemed like every class somebody overcooked that corner, spun clear around, you know.
It's a little more hard-packed, and I heard somebody saying slick. I think it was actually Cole Richardson talking about the course conditions kind of slick, which might play into his favor. He likes a little slicker track out there, so we'll see if that be the case. It looks awful dry right now, but it's also perfectly moistened in a lot of places and maybe overly moistened in others, while Walker Fowler wraps up lap number 1, a 27-minute, 36-second lap time for the number 1. As we check in the second place position now, should be seeing, there it is. That's Chris Ford's checking in. He's now 13 seconds out. That gap opened up since last we saw them on the Yamaha drone there. So we know that Walker's now starting to feel it. I don't know why. Chris could have stopped, slowed down, maybe grabbed a pair of goggles. Could have done a number of things to get that little bit of a gap to open up to another 5 seconds or so. But whatever the case may be, still within striking distance. Wesley Wolf has gotten around Hunter Hart. Wesley Wolf, you know, this is the amazing thing. Wolf, I think, finished 6th place position at the Daytona ATV Supercross. He did not ride Supercross or motocross all winter long, did not train for it. I don't even think he trained for GNCC. Maybe did a little bit of gym work or something like that, maybe some road work or something. But basically slinging a hammer, throwing sheets of plywood. That's what has trained Wesley Wolf. And to see him start out this strong in the early part of the season, you have to think, as he races into shape this year, what kind of force is he going to be to reckon with? Already in 3rd place here at the end of lap number 1 in Georgia.
You know, many times over the years, we've had past champions that, you know, worked in a concrete business during the week, worked in a salvage yard, worked in a recycling facility, that type of thing. Hard physical work, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And finding ways to use that everyday labor and work it into the program and help keep themselves fit.
Well, it's Fowler, Borage, Wolf, and Hart, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Jared McClure running about 7 seconds off pace behind Hunter Hart now. Adam McGill, another 3.5 back in 6th. Bryson Neal, 7th place position. He's hot on the rear wheel of Adam McGill. Cole Richardson in 8th. Devin Feehan 9th. Josh Merritt rounds out the top 10. You got Johnny Gallagher back in 11th. I'm going to tell you right now, 2, 3, 4 kind of surprises here. 3 big ones. First and foremost, Cole Richardson and Bryson Neal in 7th and 8th place position. Kind of another surprise is the fact that Adam McGill is in 6th, but at the same time, that's not a bad place for him to be when you look at the clock and look at things. But Bryson Neal, Cole Richardson, those two are not used to riding outside the top 5 like this, especially at the end of the first lap of racing. So coming from behind, we'll see whether or not they can build up a head full of steam. I know that Walker Fowler talked about this in the interview today. He was talking about how he had to come from behind, but he was talking about the come from behind speeds of other riders. 2 riders in particular that he mentioned was exactly Bryson Neal and Cole Richardson.
And I can tell you, those 2 get hooked up. What's not going to happen is they're not going to slow each other down.
No.
They're not going to distract each other. They're not going to get into a cat and mouse thing, checking up in corners, doing a little bumping. Those 2 are going to push each other. No matter who's in front, those 2 are going to take each other to the front is exactly what they're going to do. The mission is to close the real estate between them and Walker Fowler, and I guarantee you when they get hooked up, that's what they're going to do.
XC2 Pro-Am class now. Ronnie Rush, the Rocket Ron, if you will. I still call him Little Ronnie. Little Ronnie, 7:14 out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 1.5 second lead over Austin Abney, the 7:03 from Petersburg, Indiana. Tanner Walker, the 18 out of Berlin, PA, running in the number 3 spot, home of the famous Snyder's Tater Chips of Berlin, by the way.
Snyder's of Berlin.
I love those things.
Best barbecue chip ever.
Just best tater chips ever. Drew Landers, the 14 machine, out of Monterey, Tennessee. A 2-race winner coming into this one, starting out 4th place. I've seen him a little behind the 8 ball. I don't know if I've seen him this far back in positions, but whenever you start adding up time, he's not even 8 seconds out of 1st place right now. So we've got a major battle going on right now for the front 4, maybe even the front 5. There's Brandon Frazier. He's about 8 seconds back. But this 784, Brandon Frazier, I made mention of him at round number 1 megawatt, and he proved himself there. I got a phone call in the offseason and said the guy to watch out for, the next guy that's going to be striking and picking on Walker Fowler, likely the guy that will take the championship away from Walker Fowler will be the 784 Brandon Frazier. That's what I was told. I was like, you got to be kidding me. The kid's just coming in from the College A class. How can you put that much pressure on this kid? Well, I'll tell you what, if the first 2 rounds of racing and the glimpses of greatness we've seen out of this kid are true, this kid's got the speed. Whether or not he can put it together to make it happen, that remains to be answered. There's your leaders back on, and look at that. That gap is closed right back down. We saw that gap 13 seconds. That wasn't a 3 or 4 second gap when they went by that time, Megawatt.
Tops, look at this. Coming back around, do a quick math here. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003.
3 seconds.
There it is. That's a 3-second lead, like you said, was 13. Now, as you see, getting there some switchbacks, this is going to create some problems. You see Walker's bike hop up over that stump right there. That's going to create some problems in there when these guys are starting to come through 3 and 4 wide, you know, battling for 7th, 8th, or even 11th, 12th, whatever in their respective classes. Really going to change the face of that section in there big time.
Well, I'm wondering, was that okay? That's the other pack of riders. I was going to say
Yeah.
that didn't look like who I thought it was coming through there in the second place position, because it wasn't. It's Wolf and it's Hunter, and that's Jared McClure, the number 5. I think may have taken over that number 3 position, or at least 4th place position. We'll have to wait and see. But those 3, 4, and 5 riders are very close together. I think he's gotten up to 4th now. So we'll continue to watch it. There's the number 2 machine we see. Bryson Neal is still in the hunt of things. So when you look at the big picture right now, they're a little far back from 1st and 2nd, but I've seen Bryson Neal make up a lot more time than this and a lot less time. So basically, he's in a good position still back there in about the 6th, 7th place position as they roll through there. Cole Richardson with him right there. Devin Feehan in 9th, another rider to keep an eye on. Merritt, a rider that we've seen finishing 7th and 6th and 8th here, running those laps there, those finishes the last couple of races. Actually, Sid 6th, finished 7th and 8th. He's looking for at least a top 6, 7 or 8 here today, currently running in 10th. With an hour and a half of racing still to go, it still might be possible to see that unfold for the number 11 machine.
Oh, it's absolutely possible. He's got his work cut out for him, because I can tell you, the further up the chain you go, the faster they are. Okay, the harder they are to catch and pass, and that's why starts are so critical, Rodney. Each and every week, you may get ahead of a couple faster guys that are clearly faster, but you can work, you know, to hold those guys off. You can ride defensively, that type of thing. When you're starting from behind and the guy's quicker to start with, man, it's going to be a long day.
It most certainly is. Out near the 2 mile markers where we're watching right now, this is the FMF Power Port, the Flying Machine Factory of Southern California. And of course, one of those areas again that requires a little extra attention, maybe a little extra skill sets to get through a little quicker. And I'm not sure what we're looking at here. I think maybe a bit of a hill climb. Oftentimes it's a hill climb or something of that nature that the FMF PowerPoint presents to these riders. And right now it just looks like that creek cross. Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah, the low-lying area, the rain that we've been receiving over the course of the last few weeks, the PowerPoint. It all makes sense to power up out of that creek like that and then up this hill. It's going to get interesting as this race day wears on. We was talking about the 11 of Josh Merritt there just a few moments ago. I want to give him kudos and a hats off. He raced his first ever ATV Pro motocross race / supercross race at Daytona International Speedway the other day. He finished 12th in the class out of 18 riders, which he is extremely for your first time doing that and first time ever racing moto, like that is extremely great. So congratulations to Josh Merritt on that. Wesley Wolf, who's currently running at the number 3 spot, finished an amazing 6th place position. Not that, you know, that's too amazing, but considering the factors that we talked about, no training, no riding, first time he'd thrown his leg over that bike, period. That was a new bike that he put his leg on at Daytona ATV Supercross, still rode it to a 6th place.
We're not going to pull any of them Supercross guys over here and get a 6th place in the first week. I mean, the discipline's just that different.
Leaders on the screen at the Monster Mile there is still Walker Fowler and Chris Borch shadowing him, literally in the shadow. Not quite close enough to grab that grab bar just yet, but he's in the shadows of Walker Fowler. He can still smell the exhaust fumes and feel that little that the 4-stroke seems to throw out, that big puff of air out of that. You know how big those pipes are, man. Whenever you get behind one of those, man, you can feel the air coming out of an ATV, that's for sure.
Oh, it moves it, there's no doubt. When we take a look a little deeper back into this group just a little bit.
That's Wolf and Hart still running 3 and 4. It's still McClure, McGill, Neal, and Richardson all right there knocking on the door as well. Maybe a couple little change up. Couldn't quite tell what was. Oh, wait a minute. Hunter Hart has dropped back out of that pack. Hart is actually back at about the, I'm going to say, 9th place, 8th place position. There's Feehan now, I believe, checking in that 9th place position. So Now we see Hart has dropped from 4th to an 8th place position, and that's how quick it happened. You hear, you listen to his interviews during pre-race interviews. He talks about, being up front and how these guys really put it to him, and they put him to the test out there. He says if you're going to run up there, you've got to earn running up there.
It's qualifying every week.
It is.
You got to qualify yourself for a year to be up there, man, or come in and win right away, and that doesn't happen for most people.
There's the 11 of Josh Merritt we were talking about a few moments ago, back in that number 10 spot, fresh from the Daytona ATV Supercross. He actually said, I felt really tired the last 2 laps, but about 5 minutes after the race was over, he said, I was ready to go again.
No doubt. No doubt. I knew that the intensity level and the conditioning would not be an issue.
Johnny Gallagher checking in with us, 42 years old, celebrated his birthday last Saturday at the at Palatka at the Wild Boar GNCC. 42, his 26th season as an XC1 Pro Class rider. Some people would get offended by us saying that, not him. He wears that with a badge of honor, and rightfully so. And just to give you an idea, another 42-year-old guy that I was talking to, actually maybe 43, 44-year-old guy, for you ATV Moto fans, John Natale.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about coming back, making a reappearance back in 2020. Yes, he is. Yes.
I hope he does, because I called his name the other day at Daytona, and he wasn't even there. So I hope
he was in the pits. But nonetheless, it's good to see that these ATV riders are able to still keep going like this out here and do it competitively, even at the age. I mean, I don't want to start talking about ages, but Chris Borch is 37 years old. The ride, the way that he rides out there, unbelievable. As we take a look at it right now, it is Walker Fowler leading Chris Borch, Wesley Wolf, Hunter Hart dropping back to 8th. That'll move McClure up into the 4th place position. Now Adam McGill rounds out your top 5. How's this one all going to shake? Will Chris Borch be able to keep this pace up front? It is an intense one. There's no doubt about it as they make that breakaway. And what about Bryson Neal? Will he be able to bridge that gap? Will he bring the Coltrane Cole Richardson with him? I don't know. Those questions and more will be answered. Stick around. We'll have that and a whole lot more as GNCC Live continues here on RacerTV.com.
It's a big world out there. How do you choose to see it? When you crave the long canyons, rocky trails, rutted tracks, and lonely highways, they become a part of you. Podiums and personal records, we choose it all. Because life is about moving and feeling. It's about being connected to the adventure. Some just never pull the trigger. They keep waiting, wondering what it means to wander. It's a big world out there. You just need to ride where you belong.
Inside every Yamaha lives the heart and soul of a competitor. The DNA of a champion. When you ride with us, it revs your heart and becomes a part of you too.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85, and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride. We are American motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young, and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Megawatt Matt Watson, and also in-house today, Landon Wolf, as we give you the call here from the Specialized General GNCC. We are 45 minutes into this race now as we wait on our leaders at the 7-mile marker, a.k.a. the Monster Mile here in Georgia. Walker Fowler and Chris Borich, last seen, were basically shadowing one another through the woods. We saw a great shot of those guys on lap number 1, about 5 solid minutes of those guys racing. They were basically just a handful of quad lengths apart at most. The lead stretched out to 13 seconds there at the finish line, and then the next time we saw him at the 2-mile marker, Chris Borich was right back on the rear bumper of Walker Fowler. So we got one blazing up front, what I like to call a barn burner. Somebody might be playing with matches, and we might need to call 911, Mega, because this could be the barn burner we've been looking for. And we've already had a couple of really great races so far here in 2020.
One thing's for sure, it's going to heat up, no doubt about it. Now, as far as Walker and Chris are concerned, that gap opens up, 8, 9, 10 seconds, and it goes down to 3 seconds, 4 seconds. I'm not sure if that's, Chris really testing the waters as far as speed goes, maybe giving him a little room, if maybe Walker made a mistake or so out front, or if Chris found a good line. So I think there's a lot going on, but what I do know is going on, these guys are matching each other's pace right now. Chris is keeping that distance very reasonable, where he's going to be able to capitalize on any mistakes or even make a later race charge. But man, the heat behind them is also starting to pick up.
It is, and Hunter Hart, who was in a 3rd place position early on lap number 1, was in 4th place at the end of the lap. We saw him not long after the conclusion of lap 1. It dropped off to about a 7th or 8th place position as a few riders had gotten around. So that moves up McClure, McGill, Bryson Neal, and even Cole Richardson at this point. So it'll be interesting to see the next time. Oh, there goes Walker, and there goes Chris, still shadowing each other as they go through the Monster Mile. Now we'll see what kind of time we're looking at. They were 10 seconds at the 10-second mark when they faded away out of that shot. So we'll take it all the way to that shot in this next battle to see where the second place riders are. Already we're looking at 10 seconds. and probably 20, and maybe there's 25, there's 15. So we'll give these riders a chance to make their way all the way over to where it tails out. Of course, they take the clock down.
Well, Rodney, I can tell you what it has been. It's been a pit stop.
It's been at least 30 seconds as we pick up the action now with our Yamaha Skycam, and of course out here at that Monster Mile, the 7-mile marker, we're pushing toward the 8-mile marker. There is the number 1 of Walker Fowler, and he appears to be by himself again in this big open field section. He had a shadow of Chris Borich not even a half mile ago. Where is the number 3 Honda at? Just outside the camera shot there, so they back it up just a little bit. We see Walker really seems to be able to stretch his legs out here in these open field sections right now. Must have the extra motor he needs to make that happen.
But again, as soon as you said that, I think what's throwing us off is that red border. We're not seeing Chris down there underneath of that red border. But as soon as you said that, he opens it up. But it's funny. I think you're exactly right. I think Walker has an incredible motor right now. I think he's got the gearing just right. And as soon as he hits those sections, he's really able to pick the momentum up just a bit. And also, he's out front. He has clear air, you know, no dust whatsoever. Chris may be getting a little dust, a little bit of roost. But other than that, I say the credit goes to Walker.
So there's your 10th place rider, Josh Merritt, checking in there at the Monster Mile. And of course, as we continue to watch our Yamaha live drone and Yamaha Skycam, I guess we should call it, Walker Fowler still out front, and still Chris Borich right there in the hunt, and looks like he's still more than a thorn in the side of Walker Fowler. You know, you mentioning the motors and stuff. One thing that we can say, the technology that Walker Fowler is working with versus the technology that Chris Borich is working with, certainly a bit different. Now, we know that Chris Borich has a little bit of that Ride Red support behind him right now, the Honda support that we've been looking for on the ATV side of things. Now, that doesn't mean that Honda is producing or will produce an ATV, but what they are, they're here. They want to be a part of the action, and you never know. We might see that happening very soon with the electronic fuel injection. I know that the Phoenix Honda racing team has been developing that over the last couple of years. And if and when the opportunity ever arises for these other riders, other than non-Yamaha riders that aren't being manufactured now, have a chance to maybe do some hybrid things and stick a Kawasaki motor in, a Honda motor in their frames, or whatever the case may be, we're probably going to see a lot of this. But the beauty of this is how hard these guys have to work and how hard they do work. I mean, not taking anything at all away from Walker Fowler. I think pound for pound, horsepower for horsepower, it's going to be tough to beat. But it's certainly going to be interesting as the years wear on here in GNCC racing and off-road racing and ATV. But man, I tell you, Walker's got it dialed in. There's no doubt about it. Chris has got that Honda dialed in, and not only Chris, but I mean, there's a lot of Hondas. You got Adam McGill that's got his dialed in out there. Jared McClure's got his dialed in out there. It's the Yamaha riders like Bryson Neal, Cole Richardson, and Walker Fowler. Just to name 3, Hunter Hart, another one there is a Yamaha rider. Those guys all really making those machines work. And out here in the GNCC, to put any of those machines to the test that they are, and for them to stay together the way that they do, man, they have really figured something out here.
Well, like you said, the Blue Crew, man, they never gave up. They've been in it since the beginning. They've been increasing the technology, expanding and advancing the technology. But let me tell you something about a guy named Dave Eller that owns the Phoenix Racing Team. That guy's a competitor down to his toes, man. And let me tell you something. He is committed to his team. I talked to his engine builder. That guy's responsible for 40 engines, Rodney.
Yep.
Listen to me. 40 engines, ATV motocross, GNCC, okay, practice bikes, and they are using different settings on these motors. They're
Supercross, Arena Cross.
Okay, you know, they're using different settings, different components even on these things to figure it out. And one thing about David Eller and his team, they are going to throw everything at it that they can, 110%, to make their athletes more than competitive.
Well, we can see that obviously they are that. Grayson Eller, a top runner in the College A class this year.
Amazing.
Noah Mickelson winning the College A class last year. He's into the XC2 Pro-Am class this year. Having a little bit of struggles. I don't think it's with speed, though. I think it's more maybe not realizing the level of intensity that he was going to be faced with in the XC2. It's just like the graduation process. Once he gets that figured out, we're going to see a lot of great things out of him as well. As we take another look from our Yamaha Skycam, and again, just poetry in motion as Walker Fowler through these woods with Chris Borge back there still in the hunt. We don't see him. There he is. He just sneaks into that camera shot every once in a while.
There he is.
And it's about a 4-second gap is what we see between he and Walker physically on the racetrack right now. But every inch of the way, I think that Chris can see every line that Walker's taking. He can see every move that's going on out there. So right now, Walker Fowler, even with a 4 to 5 second gap between he and Chris Borge, is not at all comfortable. He will tell you he doesn't ride the same when there's somebody behind him as he does when there's no one behind him, because he lets it go. He takes lines that he normally doesn't take if there's somebody shadowing him. He don't want people to see just how he does it. You know, how does he smooth that track out? How does he make up a minute in one lap whenever the chips are down? Well, I'll tell you, he does it in Walker Fowler fashion, and he's not going to give away any secrets if he don't have to.
Oh, no, and also he's aware. He's aware of who's back there. We're not talking about a freshman. We're not talking about a sophomore to the class. We're talking about a guy that's burnt more gas than most of these dudes combined, okay? He knows that if there's somebody who's going to pick up a line, if there's somebody who's going to pick up a braking point, if there's somebody that's going to pick up, you know, a maneuver, it's Chris, and he wants to avoid that at all costs. But the other point is, Chris just sitting back here going to school.
Yeah.
What this 4 seconds tells me, that's a blown corner, Rodney.
Yep.
That's a bicycle. Get that thing up on 2 wheels through the bushes, you know, all of a sudden, in 4 seconds, Chris Borge is gone.
Well, here's the interesting scenario to look at and think about. Last week at Palatka, the Wild Boar GNCC, Chris Borge and Walker Fowler had both passed and moved into the lead. Walker Fowler stopped to try to let Chris Borge, actually Chris Borge stopped to try to let Walker Fowler go by. Walker wouldn't go around him. Chris wouldn't go. Somebody else got around them both. Neither one wanted to lead. So I almost have to think that Chris Borge is right where he wants to be. Remember what Chris Borge is known for. The Borge. Remember the last lap,
dude.
Pull it out of your back pocket, take it to the limit, pass, and just blow your doors off. Are we going to see that? Are we seeing the rebirth of the Borge? Quite possibly here in Georgia today would be quite interesting. You know, Chris Borge has won a lot of races here in the soils of Georgia. Walker Fowler, even though he doesn't remember how many races he won, he said, I think I've won 2 here. He's actually won about 5 races here. I went back and did the research. And, you know, even though, you know, he's got that many wins, he doesn't feel as confident at Georgia as I think that what Chris Borge did. And in talking with both these riders pre-race interview, I could tell there was a huge air of confidence in Chris Borge. I asked him, I said, Chris, is this bike ready to win? Are you ready to win? I said, is this bike podium potential? He said, this bike is podium potential. It is winner potential.
I'm going to add this. It's the most enthusiasm I've heard from Chris and the most confidence.
Yes.
In a little while. The guy's always confident. The guy can win any week, any time. He gets a start anywhere and this and that. The guy has that ability. But we all go through periods, and I got to tell you, Chris right now seems as confident as he has in maybe a couple seasons.
I tell you again, I'm still elated and super pumped for Wesley Wolf. I'm not sure where he's at right now. I know he's probably under a lot of pressure from McGill, McClure, Neal, Richardson, and Feehan and the boys right now. But we'll find out here pretty soon when we complete this next lap of racing, which should be coming here in the next couple minutes or so. We should be nearing the completion and heading toward the finish line chicanes. There's Walker Fowler out into the field section now. And he's already opened it up now a little bit more over Chris Borge.
Now let's see, Rodney, when this thing comes back into the tight a little bit, let's see if Chris comes back into view. Is he trying to avoid a little of that dust right now? I mean, is Walker just that much quicker out of some of those corners? Let's just see, because I can tell you that gap almost doubled in a matter of 6 corners, 7 corners.
Yes, it did, and we're out here on the famous Aonia Pass Moto track now. And coming off of that now as we are nearing the completion through the finish line chicanes, Walker Fowler coming in for 2 laps complete. We are now 56, almost 57 minutes into this race, and the gap 3.1 seconds. How did he do that?
He wasn't even on screen, Rodney.
He wasn't even on screen. And he gapped that in 3 seconds now. He pulls into the finish line barrels behind Walker Fowler, so he is right where he wants to be. Walker cannot shake him after 2 laps of racing, and don't think he hasn't been trying.
He has been trying, I will promise you that, but I believe this is the mental games from Chris right now.
All right, here we are in the pits. We're about ready to head into an MMI pit stop, it looks like, as Walker Fowler stops in, a fresh pair of goggles. They're going to top him off on gas. Same thing here for Chris Borch, those 100% goggles. No senses of urgency. Papa Joe out there trying to make sure he's got a full tank of gas. Chris Borch is ready to go. Look at it. You can see he's hungry, man. I haven't seen this kind of aggression out of Chris Borch in some time.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Before they ever yanked that jug,
he was going.
He was moving, and I could tell you, a perfect goggle placement. Didn't get any dust in his eyes. Put that thing in there snug against the face. About the time Walker let the clutch loose, so did Chris. Wow.
Mercy sakes alive, Chris Borch is in it to win it today, my friends. Will he be able to make it happen as he shadows Walker Fowler now heading into lap number 3? Back into that number 3 position. It is Jared McClure. Bryson Neal up to 4th as we anticipated, and Cole Richardson into the number 5 spot. Adam McGill still holds steady in 6th. Hart in 7th. Wesley Wolf has dropped off to the 8th place position, so I have to wonder if maybe Hart and well, actually, Wolf has dropped off the 9th place. Devin Feehan gets around now. So Devin Feehan is your 8th place position, right? And I have to say, no, I'm a little concerned. I wonder what's going on with Devin. I didn't see him in the pits earlier today, and we saw some really good runs out of him earlier in the early part of the season, I think, and even in Florida last week. Maybe something happened. We'll have to try to get a word in on that as this race wears on. Maybe we'll get a word, but Devin Feehan back in 8th place position. Steady as she goes, Joe back there. We'll see how it all works out for him.
Adam McGill pulling out of the pits right there. I'm not sure exactly how efficient his stop was, but back underway under full power. And look here at the mile marker 2. You see some quads in the background back there starting to make their way through. Don't think that was our leaders.
No, that's not our leaders there. And Mega, you might want to grab a mic and head down. I want to know what's going on down there in those pits right now. That pit stop was a really good pit stop for Chris Borch and those guys. Let's find out what the mindset is, the pits, and I know they're working hard. I've seen a lot of pit boards out there for Chris Borch, so they've got plenty of spotters in the wood. There's no doubt about that. We are at the 2-mile marker, and we are rolling here at Aonia Pass and this general GNCC. Folks, we also kick off today our first round of EMTB GNCC, Electric Mountain Bike GNCC Racing, as we kick off our 2nd season of that, the National Championship season. And, of course, Hot Rod Charlie Mullins, a 2-time motorcycle champion in GNCC, is now your defending champion of the EMTB Pro class. And I've seen a lot of folks out for the EMTB GNCC today, and we could have some big names coming out for this one today as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what kind of big guns are showing up for this new form of racing. Just over the 1 hour mark now here at Aonia Pass. Again, Walker Fowler, Chris Borch, Jared McClure, Bryson Neal, and Cole Richardson, your top 5. Megawatt Matt Watson heading down into the pits right now at VP Fuels Pro Row to find out what took place in that MMI pit stop just a few moments ago. And we do want to take this opportunity to say thanks to our friends at Motorcycle Mechanic Institute. Once again, get there smarter and faster. They've got great locations in Orlando, Florida, and also Phoenix, Arizona. All types of motorcycling and motorcycle engines and so forth. Find out more by visiting mmi.edu on the World Wide Web. Taking a look at some of our other classes. If you're wondering how some of our classes, we'll go through some of those in just a minute. And now we are in the pits where Wesley Wolf appears to be having some sort of problem now on his ATV as he's checked in outside the top 10, I believe. Trying to see exactly where he did check in at. Wesley Wolf checked in 9th place after 2 laps of racing complete, but you can see he is having some sort of mechanical issues out there, technical difficulties of some sorts in that MMI pit stop. So heartbreaker there for Wolf, especially after the phenomenal ride that we saw him have at Tuesday. Here comes, there goes Walker Fowler. Here comes Chris Borch now, so that gap is opening up just a little bit. So Walker Fowler may be getting that gap that he's looking for and getting out of sight. Chris Borch doesn't seem to be riding with the intensity that we saw him riding at maybe earlier, so maybe some wind knocked out of him cells. Wesley Wolf now out of the pits. We're getting a report, so whatever issue that was, they got him in, got him out. That could have been a an air filter. It could have been a number of different things going on down there. He could have sucked up some water, maybe some dirt somewhere. Whatever the case may be, Megawatt Matt Watson down in the pits. He's going to get some information on that one to find out what took place. But so far, we are looking at only our front two runners that have checked in here at the FMF PowerPoint. The gap nearly a minute back to third place, and there is Jared McClure. McClure, the number 5 machine now in that number 3 spot. Bryson Neal is the number 2. He is running in the number 4 position, and Cole Richardson rounds out your top 5. There is Richardson right now behind Bryson Neal, and behind Richardson is the 521 of Adam McGill. So McGill keeping a shadow on that front 5 right now as we roll through this section of the race course now. And again, for those of you folks so right now, sounds like things are happening down in the pits as we're watching things unfold out here in the wooded section. This 2-mile marker out near the FMF PowerPort. Sounds like maybe Megawatt Matt Watson getting things ready to go. And down in the Walker Fowler pits, I know that Fowler's got to be, they got to be a little concerned, maybe not too much so yet, because we're still just barely past the halfway point. But we are starting to see things stretch out just a little bit now here on this lap. So that could be a little bit of breathing room for the number 1 and the WFR racing team out there. Check in with those XC2 Pro-Am riders real quick for you to let you know how things are breaking there. And from 4th place on lap number 1, Drew Landers has moved into the number 1 position. 2nd place, Austin Abney, the 703. 34 seconds back, Ronnie Rush in 3rd. Tanner Walker, another 54 seconds back in 4th. And Jordan Poplansky, 19 seconds back in that 5th place position. That's your top 5 in the Pro-Am class. And Megawatt Matt Watson is down in the MMI Pro Pits.
All right, folks, we're down here with Walker Fowler's mechanic Mark Notman. Mark, you guys have set a blistering pace right now. Things look smooth so far. Seem like a great pit stop. Are things going as planned?
Yeah, I believe it was a good pit stop. He didn't really say anything. He wanted to know where 3rd and 4th was. So we told him to gap back to there, and it's about 50 back to Jared and Bryson. Chris is pretty much right on our rear grab bar. He's running good today, so hopefully they can keep stretching out, and hopefully Walker can get away from Chris a little bit.
You guys traditionally have good rides down here. Are you surprised Chris is able to hang on as much as he is today?
No, I mean, Chris is a top guy. You know, it seemed like he struggled the first couple rounds, but it looks like things are getting figured out, and today he's one to beat.
And I know that we've got something in the works for probably the last couple laps, huh?
I don't know, just same as usual. Hopefully, he can put on a sprint here. Looked like we had a little better pit stop than they did, so hopefully that was enough to get us 2nd or 2 more of a gap to maybe get through some lap traffic that's coming up.
Awesome, great work. We'll check in with you later, Mark.
Thank you.
Back to you, Rodney.
All right, thanks a lot. Down in the VP Fuels Pro Row, Megawatt Matt Watson talking about that MMI pit stop there that we saw with Walker Fowler and Chris Borch a few moments ago. They feel they had a little better pit stop. There is Chris Borch at the Monster Mile, and you can see that gap has opened up between he and the number 1 of Walker Fowler quite a bit now. We're probably pushing somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 to 20 now. And to say that this is what Walker Fowler has been looking for, this is what Walker Fowler's been looking for. He's got a free air ahead of him right now, and he's got nobody behind him to shadow him and see what lines he's using, and this is where Walker Fowler is really going to start to shine. So that time that we're seeing between he and 2nd place of Chris Borch will likely stretch out even more over what we're witnessing right now. While we wait to see how that's all shaping up, there's McClure in the number 3 spot. There is Bryson Neal in the number 4 position, and I believe, yes, that is the number 5 ride position right now as we take a look at that. Cole Richardson back there on board that number 4 machine, riding for the Energy Racing team, and of course keeping those boys honest up front, no doubt about it. As we take a look at the overall right now, just to give you an idea of where riders are sitting, we've got Drew Landers at 13th place overall right now. Our top non-XC1 or XC2 rider, Grayson Eller, right now is your top amateur. He is leading the College A class at 16 to 21 at 28th place. Seth Wilson running a 1.9 second gap back to second place and 29th overall position there for top amateur honors. Good battle going on there. Megawatt Matt Watson is down in the pits. We're going to get a word in with him here in just a couple moments. So stand by for that. We'll get a chance to look at our third place top amateur. That is AJ Koontz. He's winning now, so we can call him AJ. Otherwise, we call him Tommy. That's what he said on the podium. So AJ Koontz leading that Vet A30 Plus class. He's 30th overall right now, and he's currently running in a third place adjusted time as far as the overall top amateur. If you look at adjusted times right now, he is about 45 seconds off the pace of Seth Wilson right now. Wilson is currently only 1.9 seconds behind Grayson Eller, so literally a pretty healthy battle going on for our top overall amateur position as we roll through lap number 3 here, just past the halfway point. We're approaching an hour and 9 minutes in this race now, so riders have really been put to the test already through this first hour. Now it's time to see how in this second hour things are going to start to pan out. As we started noting and noticing, it looked like Fowler starting to stretch things out over the number 3 of Borich. There is the number 11 once more of Josh Merritt. That is your 10th place rider now at the Monster Mile, to give you an idea of what the gap is from first to 10th place positions right now. A few minutes it looks like, a couple anyway, about 3, maybe 4 minutes, as we are looking now at the 3-mile marker. Again, this is the Monster Mile. We've been looking at this one for a while. We saw the leaders go through the 2-mile at the FMF PowerPoint. We saw them go through here at the Monster Mile. We should be picking them up rather soon, I believe. And we are in the Phoenix Racing Honda pits right now. This is, I believe, Grayson Eller in, leader of the College A class and your top amateur overall rider right now. Yes, it is. That is Grayson Eller, College A class leader on that Phoenix Racing Honda team. 29th place overall position. There's Johnny Gallagher out near the 7-mile marker as we are rolling through the Monster Mile once again. Actually, that's the 3-mile marker. Sorry about that. I guess that was last week. Might have been 7, but regardless. All right, Mega, dig me out of this hole, brother. What's going on down there?
We're down here in the pits with Chris Bach's dad, Joey. Joey, tell us a little bit about what's going on. You guys are in great position right now. You're following Walker. You're watching the lines. Seems like you're matching speed everywhere right now. Part of the plan?
We messed up in the pit a little bit. He wanted out a little quicker. I lost a little bit of time on the jug, but he's trying to close back in on him. I have a couple guys out there trying to get him motivated.
Definitely seeing progress in the right direction this week. Feel good about that?
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to work on, just trying to get things up to speed. A little bit of a change.
Yeah, it's new for everybody. A little bit of a different program, different personnel, and different machines. So I think we're right on course. You say so?
Yeah, we're good. We're going to be, like I said, 3 steps and we're there. We're here.
And if there's one thing we know, that David Eller is going to provide you guys with everything you need to make it happen.
Oh, yeah. Team Phoenix is the deal.
Fantastic. Back to you, Rodney.
All right, thanks a lot. Joe Borich, that is Chris Borich's dad there, and that right there is the guy that is responsible for Chris Borich being here. They started out in sprint cars, and then his dad found the GNCC race and came and raced it. Told Chris about it. Chris said, well, I want to go race with you, Dad. They actually started racing the B class together. And, well, you see where that road led for Chris to be one of the greatest of all time in GNCC racing. Of course, we had a chance to catch up with him on Quad Radio last night. That interview coming up this week on quadradio.net. Be sure and watch that and watch our social medias for that to keep up with Chris Borich. Right now, though, folks, it is still Walker Fowler leading Chris Borich. Jerry McClure in third, Bryson Neal in fourth. Cole Richardson rounds out the top 5. Can Chris Borich bridge that gap and challenge Fowler once again before the checkers? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85, and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin along with Megawatt Matt Watson today. Mega down in the pits. He'll be giving us some updates on that MMI pit stop there from a few moments ago. In just a few, we are at the 7-mile marker where our leaders have already checked in. Walker Fowler and Chris Borge. Actually, we were at the 3-mile marker at the Monster Mile. This is the other side. We'll be waiting on the leaders here for a few moments. But Walker Fowler, last check, leading Chris Borge, had opened up the gap to about 20 seconds. Jared McClure and Bryson Neal running third and fourth. Neal on the move up through the pack from about 8th place position there on lap number 1, was turning some pretty fast lap times. However, his lap time only at 29:27, a couple of seconds faster than Jared McClure. So a big question is right now, has he been able to get around Jared McClure? And if so, has he been able to bridge any of the gap between himself and the second place rider Chris Borge? And or has Jared McClure picked up the pace? What's going on between these guys in third place right now? Also wondering what's going on with Cole Richardson. So we'll try to keep up with that race coming through here in just a few moments as well. We got several big battles shaping up. Obviously the battle for the lead between Fowler and Borge is what we've been watching all day. And then that battle now for the third and final podium position with McClure, Neal, and Richardson still in the thick and hunt of things out there here in the soils of Georgia. This is Aonia Pass and the Specialized General GNCC Round 3 of the 2020 GNCC Series presented by Specialized, and down in the VP Fuels Pro Row Megawatt MMI update.
Rodney, we're down here with Kevin, Cole Richardson mechanic. Kevin, give us a little update on how the race is going and how we're progressing.
We started off a little slow, but he's coming back through the pack, keeping a solid pace, and hopefully he'll move straight up to the front.
Any issues so far glaring at us?
No, everything's going good. We just had a rough start. We'll keep her moving.
Keep our head down and keep roosting?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kevin. Back to you, Rodney.
Well, sounds like the game plan right there, to head down and keep charging. That seems to be what works for Cole Richardson and also for Bryson Neal. There's Walker Fowler out front now as we get a bead on this one. He's at the 8-second mark there, so we'll see where the second place ride is now whenever he comes in here in just a few moments. Looks like nowhere near the camera shot is the number 3 in second place of Chris Borge, so that gap now at least 15 seconds is what we're looking at. And that 20 seconds that we were anticipating has certainly come and passed now, and still no sign of Chris Borge. As we approach the 30-second mark, something happened. There he is. There is the second place ride. And is it still Chris Borge? I believe that it is. So Chris Borge has lost some 30 seconds. And this is what we were talking about, the dangers of letting Walker Fowler get out of sight. And when he gets out of sight, for anyone, even the best of the best like Chris Borge, hard to keep that pace on a day like today. And Walker Fowler stretching it out. There it is, some 30, almost 40 seconds that separate those two riders. We'll call it 35 seconds at this time. There is third place who has bridged the gap. So I'm going to say that Chris Borge has ran into a problem because that second place position has gapped that 51 seconds down to now about 20 seconds. So somewhere out there, Chris Borge has lost the time. Walker Fowler making up a little time, but I think the biggest part of that, Chris Borge has lost the time because we're seeing third place now gain on Borge for the second place position. Very interesting scenario starting to shape up here. So the idea of the Borge maybe slipping out the window for us, as there is Cole Richardson now, I believe, up, or Jared McClure in a fourth place position now. Sorry about that. So I believe that Bryson Neal has gotten around, maybe even Cole, so that might put McClure back to fifth place position. Trying to remember what I saw go through there. Yeah, I think that would be fifth place now for Jared McClure. So that's how quickly the tables can turn, especially when you got riders like Bryson Neal and Cole Richardson, two of the biggest come from behind riders in this championship. stalking you from behind. But I'll tell you, you know, we were talking about what Walker Fowler was talking about, the come from behind riders. There's Hunter Hart checking in, by the way. Hart in that 7th place position. Actually, he's in that 6th place position. He's gotten around Adam McGill. McGill back there on the 521 behind him now. So the young Hart on the move back up toward the front. Should be seeing Devin Feehan coming through right now. There he is, Devin Feehan, the 409 machine, or 406 machine, sorry about that. Devin Feehan not really showing us the speeds that we saw him, I think, in the first 2 rounds of racing, but what we are seeing is a good, strong, consistent, solid ride today. Didn't get a chance to talk with him before the race, so things may be going according to or better than according to plan at this particular point. Looks like we got some lap traffic out there that can and probably has caused some issues for some of our riders, but the beauty of it is, as we look out through these wooded section, we talked about the undergrowth not being grown up, so lots of lines still available to open up out there for these riders, and plenty of passing opportunities for our XC1, XC2, A and B class riders out here this afternoon. A beautiful view here in Georgia, no doubt about that. And of course, Mark McGill is standing by with Megawatt Matt Watson. We're going to get a word in with him as we wait on our battle for the XC2 Pro-Am class here at the 7. And of course, we'll be expecting to see the number 14 of Drew Landers out front in this battle for the XC2. He had only a 3-second lead, just under a 3-second lead over the 703 of Austin Abney. And those 2 riders have been battling basically the first 2 rounds of GNCC. They both had to work their way up into position today, both having a solid top 5 start, but dropping way back there early on, but able to make up and bridge that gap. Ronnie Rush dropping now to the 3rd place position, the early leader in this class, 34 seconds back. Tanner Walker, 54 seconds back in 4th. Jordan Poplonsky, another 20 seconds back in the number 5 position. Then Ben Kowalewski, Dylan Walraven, Kenny Schick in 8th, Cole Setzer in 9th, and Michael McAvoy rounding out the top 10. What about Landers and Abney? Landers, again, part of that WFR Landsmill XC Yamaha team over there. Riding under the guidance and direction of Walker Fowler. You can see a whole different kind of rider in the number 14 of Drew Landers this year, but he's also got a whole different sort of company and a whole different sort of competition out of riders like the 703 of Austin Abney, who is certainly putting the challenge on. And I believe, is that Abney? Nope, this is actually some of our, that's the 712 right there. That is actually, I believe, our XC1 class rider. That is John Glotta Jr. Yeah, John Glotta Jr. As we see him going through, he's running about 12th place position now in the XC1 Pro class, so having his struggles here today, it looks like. Still no sign of the battle for the XC2 Pro-Am class. Waiting on Landers, the 14, and or Abney, the 703. Here they come. They're coming in hot. And we'll see who's who whenever we break this 7-mile marker at the now Monster Mile, this part of the Monster Mile. And that is the number 14 of Drew Landers. That 3-second gap appears to have opened up a little bit for that rider as he looks over his shoulder to see where 2nd place position is. Does he even see him at this point? Still no sign of him, so it looks like he is doing the same thing that his mentor, Walker Fowler, is doing up in the XC1 Pro class. Finally able to find some clean air and is starting to stretch things out there in that XC2 Pro-Am class. So we've seen some good battles shaping up today. We've caught our leaders in the XC1, the XC2, and the College A class today. By the way, Grayson Eller at last check leading Dalton Keys by about 10 seconds. Chase Allison was running in the number 3 spot of that College A class. Mikey Nicholson, 4th. Cody Forrester rounded out your top 5 out of Warren, Ohio. Junior A class, Jeremy Ladon, former ATV motocross star himself out of Glenshaw, Pennsylvania, and owner of Ladon Racing, leading that Junior A class. Drew Landers on screen now as we get a chance to follow him now on the Yamaha Skycam. You get to see this sort of poetry in motion. This kid, he says, weighing in at a light 195 pounds. He is nothing but pure meat and muscle, my friends. And this guy has got the strength and the ability to manhandle and maneuver that ATV in any way, shape, or form that he chooses to do. And that's exactly what he is doing right here today at the Specialized General GNCC. Leaders due in a couple of minutes at the finish line. Fowler and Borch will see that official gap. We're expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of about 40 to 45 seconds, maybe even closer to a minute, as fast as Walker Fowler's been able to stretch things out there. He's running like a scared rabbit right now. He got that break, he got that opportunity, and he is not looking back, and he's not letting up. So Drew Landers again by himself there on the Yamaha Skycam, and his lead opening up quite a bit over Austin Abney. As we watch Landers on screen, we check back in with that Junior A class. And we'll do that in just a moment as we check into the pits. Mark McGill is with Megawatt Matt Watson.
Rodney, we're down here with Mark McGill. Mark, not exactly the ideal start to your season, but you know what? Not unfamiliar, you guys. You guys have been in a hole before. You guys have had some problems overcome before many times in the past. How is this year different?
It's not different. It's the same. Starting out the same. We got in a hole in the first race with a blowed motor, and now we got to dig out. So just keep racing hard every weekend. We come to race and make the best of what we got.
And one thing about you guys, you bring it 100% every week. You expect the same thing every week, and the goal simply to win.
Oh yeah, simply win. Everybody's out there in the pro row wants to win, so it could happen. We just keep digging and have a good start. Hopefully, if you can get a good start, you got to have a good day.
Mark, I've known you for a long time on a personal level. What do you think has kept you guys so energetic over the years and kept you guys competitive this long?
He loves doing it. I mean, he's like a kid. He still enjoys riding. He has fun, and he said till the day he can't climb on a four-wheeler and ride it is the day he's going to quit. He says he just enjoys it. He has fun. He still has fun. It ain't about the money. It's about having fun.
Right there sums it up. You heard it straight from Mark McGill. It's all about the fun. They're going to do it as long as Adam can throw a leg over it. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot. And that's some good news. In the last couple of seasons, it almost seemed like Adam McGill was setting himself up for retirement the way he was talking and everything. But McGill comes out this year with a whole different attitude and a whole different fever. Even though the blown motor at Big Buck might have taken the wind out of the sails and not nearly the finishes I'm sure he's hoping for so far, this guy is still hungry. And like Mark said, he's back into it to win it. He's in it to win it again, and not even thinking about the possibility of moving on right now. It's all about the racing action there for the 521. So as we were looking at some of these other classes while we watch our Yamaha Skycam and our leaders there in the XC2 Pro-Am class, Jeremy Ladon leading the Junior A 22 plus class. Brent Henke, out of Vincent, Ohio, the 896, running 8.7 seconds back in second. The number 144 of Zach Wright in third. Justin Eisen in fourth. And Brody Livingood out of Falling Waters, West Virginia, rounds out the top five. Bet 8, A.J. Koontz leading a minute and 20 seconds over J.P. Jeff Pickens, the 21 machine. 275 of James Green. Good to see this rider back, too, out of St. Mary's, West Virginia, in third. 702 of Zach Phillips out of Parsons, West Virginia, in fourth. Brad Whitehead rounds out your top five aboard the number 25 out of Reading, Pennsylvania. Senior 840 plus class, TJ Barrett leading Michael Hayes, the 451 out of Morrisville, New York. And Barrett got the whole shot in this class and has not looked back. A minute and 28-second lead at the end of lap 2 over Hayes, who's from Rocky Face, Georgia. LaSalle, Michigan, home to Mark Batson, former ATV motocross racer and Media All-Stars rider aboard the 636 in third. Jeff Harvey, Hardcore Harvey, the 84 machine out of West Union, West Virginia, in fourth. I believe he's still doing his podcast. If he's not, Hardcore, you need to get back at it. James Noble, the 301 out of Sheridan, Illinois, rounds out your top five there in the Senior 840 plus class. Should be coming up on a complete lap here soon for our XC1 Pro class, so we'll check in with those riders. And actually, they have done just exactly that. Whoa, big changes going on here. Walker Fowler leading Bryson Neal now. Neal 1 minute behind Chris Borge, now 8 seconds behind that. I knew something had happened, didn't know exactly what it was. Don't think that Chris ran out of steam. It has to be something technical out there. Cole Richardson in the number 4 spot aboard the number 4. Jared McClure rounds out the top 5. Those 5 riders are the only ones to check in so far with 3 laps of racing complete. Again, it's Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Chris Borge, 1, 2, and 3. Don't know what's going on with Chris Borge. Megawatt, you're down in the VP Fuels Pro Row. Maybe you can get a word in from our Phoenix Racing Honda team there to find out just exactly what's going on with that Red Rider today. Adam McGill, as we said, in that 6th place spot. Hunter Hart in 7th. Actually, that has changed. Or at least last visual, it had changed. Hart had gotten around McGill. And here at the finish line, as we wait with a bated breath, it is Adam McGill back around Hunter Hart. So those two have swapped positions again. Adam McGill says, nuh-uh, son. Not you, sophomore. You're not going to have it happen today, at least not on that lap. So a minute and 13 seconds out of the top 5. McGill and Hart waging war for that 6th place position. Looking for Devin Feehan, Wesley Wolf, and Josh Merritt in soon. But again, Wesley Wolf was in the pits and had an extended pit stop, had the seat off the machine. Maybe we can get down and talk to Eric and the guys, Megawatt, and see what's going on there for Wesley Wolf and see what kind of problems may have arisen for him. 3 laps into this one, that means that we should be looking at a white flag here at the finish line now. So 1 more lap to go. If I'm not mistaken, let's double check this and make sure when we see that finish line region there and Ricky Towery, our finish. So I am getting confirmation that it is the final lap. I know we were running in a zone there, but that zone I thought was still more than ample time to be close to that 2-hour mark, and that's exactly what it is. Again, big changes. Neal in the 2nd, Chris Borge in the 3rd. Minute back plus. What happened to Chris Borge? We saw him fade toward the end of lap number 3 there. Not going to do any speculations, but there is a lot of wonder of what may have happened that caused Chris Borge to throw out the anchor like that. Walker Fowler on screen now, as we said, enjoying a minute lead. Now the big question is, will anyone be able to gap that? We saw Bryson Neal make up those kind of gains and bridging up to a minute. We've seen Walker Fowler bridge up to a minute, but the thing about it for Bryson Neal right now, a 29:28 lap time and a 29:25 lap time. Neal doesn't appear to really be showing any super speed out there right now. It might be because of the case that he's been fighting and working his way up and through and past people out there, but right now, unless someone gives the pit board to Bryson Neal that is inspirational, I don't know if we're going to see that minute gapped or not. So we're going to keep an eye out here at the 2-mile marker. Again, if any rider can make it happen, we know Bryson Neal has proven himself on more than one occasion to be the man to be able to make the hail. There goes Bryson Neal now, still about a minute or so behind Walker Fowler. He has opened up that lead quite a bit more now over the number 3 of Chris Borge. And Borge almost seems to be just limping or babying that machine. You know, talking with him, I know that they've been doing a lot of building and a lot of tuning and things like that, trying to get this machine dialed into what they were looking for. And I know suspension has been something that he's been working on over the course of the last couple of races, also working with the folks at Impact Solutions. I know that they did a bunch of suspension changes after the Florida round of GNCC racing, so Chris has had a week to try to test and tune some of that stuff in. Whether or not it's going to pay dividends for him or not certainly remains to be answered here today. About 23 minutes out when we should be seeing a checker flag fly in this one and the conclusion of the ATV portion of the Specialized General GNCC. And speaking of Specialized, we got the EMTB GNCC Round 1 coming up tonight. That's all slated to get underway right around 4:30. I would assume it'll be maybe a little bit later than that, but keep your radios tuned to 90.3 or close to a public address speakers. We will keep you up to date and in tune with what's taking place there. So watching out here at the 2-mile marker, we'll be picking back up here shortly at the 3-mile marker. We've got 2 locations we got for the Monster Mile. They'll go through part of it on the 3-mile marker and then again through the other portion of the Monster Mile at the 7-mile marker. So a couple of different challenges on the same lap in near identical conditions for those riders. As we're watching our front runners check in there, and just basically watching all of our runners checking in here today, it looks like. I believe that is the number 7 of Hunter Hart out there still, and that looks like he has gotten back around Adam McGill, so McGill would be back to 7th, so that moves Hunter Hart up to the 6th place position as they pass the 3-mile marker now. Again, I know the camaraderie between Adam McGill and Hunter Hart. One thing that Adam McGill does not want to let happen is to have the youngster beat him straight up out there on the racetrack like that. It'll be a tough pill to swallow, especially since Hunter Hart will never let him live it down. That's the kind of relationship these guys have out there. They fierce competitors on the racetrack, but just as fiercely good friends as well off the racetrack. Maybe not so much on race day. There's Walker Fowler now as we approach the Monster Mile for the 2nd time here. I don't know what the hand gestures were there, but I think Walker is just basically signaling he's having lots of fun right now. It's almost like he told that lapped rider, come on, hook on, let's go, come with me. And it's amazing the lap traffic that does try to do that. And I have to guess if I was in the same scenario and situation, I'd want to do it. I'd want to see how fast they were going, what makes them so much faster than me. Line choices have a lot to do with that, and just lots of time, bike fitness, and things of that nature. Being one with your machine certainly tells a big part of that story also. Is this Bryson Neal now in the 2nd? That almost looks like he may be bridging that gap just a little bit. Still close to the 1-minute mark, so we're not going to get too excited just yet. But right around the 1-minute mark, it's still Bryson Neal in that 2nd place position as we see him checking in. We should be seeing Chris Borch come through next. Is he going to be able to maintain the position and hold on to the podium spot here through this final lap of racing? I know a lot of riders are trying to bridge that gap from back there, and if they get the pit board that Borch is having some issues, then we know that well, it looks like Borch may be getting picked on out there. Cole Richardson by, and I believe that we have one other rider, Jared McClure, making his way by as well. So McClure and Richardson both by Chris Borch. I have to think that there's some kind of an issue that slowed Chris Borch down today. I know he pushed that machine to its limits and even said then that he wasn't in the interview this morning that they knew that there were still a lot of things that they were working on. So they may have found yet another issue to work on again. Well, folks, as we watch this one, so many changes in this one right from the get-go. Chris Borch taking the whole shot and Walker Fowler, they all stretched it out, and we had a well of a battle up front. Eventually, Fowler was able to make the pass, or actually keep the pass and then make the gap broaden. Once he got out of sight, he started check out. You've seen the 35-second gap. We also saw Chris Borch slowing down. We saw the passes being made. We see that Chris continues to fade back. All the while, the rest of the riders are trying to push forward, including Bryson Neal in 2nd place now, trying to bridge the 1-minute gap in less than a lap of racing. Will he be able to make it happen? Can Cole Richardson hang on to a podium position, or will Jared McClure do it? Stick around. GNCC will continue in just a moment with more from the General here in Georgia.
This week in Yamaha history. The General GNCC at Aonia Pass in Washington, Georgia has been the home of many legendary battles. The 2006 General was no different. It was a day of relentless battles over demanding terrain and conditions that put each rider to the test. Dwayne Johnson, Chris Bithell, William Yoakley, Taylor Kaiser, Brian Cook, and Adam McGill were riders that on any given day could contest for and even take a win. But on this day, it was Pennsylvania's Chris Borch, West Virginia's Chris Jinks, and Kentucky's Bill Balance that waged a war up front that many was hoping to see. Chris Jinks had jumped out to the early lead as the Yamaha mounted Bill Balance with Chris Bithell, Chris Borch, and William Yoakley breaking away from the rest of the pack. Then just past the halfway point, Balance, who had moved up from 4th place at the end of lap 1, made the pass on Chris Jinks for the lead. As Balance set out for his 3rd consecutive win of the General, the battle for second waged between Jinks and Borch. Never more than 10 seconds ahead of the fierceness over his shoulder, the then 6-time ATV champion was able to hang on till the checkers, finishing only 7 seconds ahead of Chris Borch and only 9 seconds ahead of 3rd place rider Chris Jinks. Yamaha's Bill Balance would then go on to win the 7th of his 9 championships that season, posting 6 wins in 2006 to his total tally of 67 overall wins. And that's this week in Yamaha history.
Hey, Doug Duchette here from Kawasaki Team Green. Just wanted to introduce myself in the world of GNCC racing as well. So I'm a motocross mechanic and an off-road mechanic for Kawasaki Team Green. I have been for many years. I originally got into the sport as a racer and enthusiast myself. I raced for a good number of years, GNCC, National Hare Scrambles, National Enduros, and of course the Netra Series back in New England from where I'm from. I worked at a dealership for a good number of years, Midtown Kawasaki. And here I am today with the Babbitt's Monster Energy Kawasaki race team. So the cool thing about the industry is that you can be a racer, and you know, it's how most of us get into this sport. You know, you're behind the bars one day, and then you know, you're outside the semi looking in for autograph sessions. Next thing you know, you're on this side of the fence. And that's the unique thing about this industry, is that or this series and this sport, is that you can transition from a off-road racer, enthusiast, motocross racer into the industry, because at that point in time you have a lot of experience and expertise that applies to the mechanics of the motorcycles and just, you know, preparation for each race. So it's like a seamless transition, how you can you know, basically transfer from a racer one day to a you know, a factory mechanic the next day. So the cool thing about it as well, you know, I've been around for a good number of years, even though I bounce around back and forth from being a motocross mechanic to an off-road mechanic. Kind of the cool nature of this sport is that, you know, we have the likes of Joey Maurer, who's been in the industry for a good number of years, Freddie Andrews, who I've watched as a racer, you know, and now we're on this side of the fence, you know, running race teams and supporting our racers. It's kind of cool. I've pretty much spun wrenches for the likes of so many riders that are proficient and pro riders to this day. You know, in our current race team program for Team Green, I'm still working with a lot of the amateur kids coming through the program in motocross. And then here we are in off-road. I mean, Grant Davis is our future. It's just a phenomenal individual, and we have a lot of faith in him. JoJo Cunningham. Then our current team, we have Lyndon Snodgrass, Josh Strang, and Jordan Ashburn, who are just doing a fantastic job for us right now. Can't be more proud of our team.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Megawatt Matt Watson. And, of course, the closing moments of the Specialized General GNCC. About 12 minutes of racing left to go, minus 12. Actually, about 11 and a half minutes now before we should expect to see Walker Fowler checking in at Checkers. An hour and 44 minutes now into this race. Chris Borch, who had shadowed Walker Fowler for the biggest part of this race, having some issues heading into that third lap of racing. Actually, at the end of lap 3, Bryson Neal was able to get around him. Actually, the end of lap 2, Bryson Neal got around, and of course, actually, I guess it would have been lap 3. Working on 4 now. But Bryson Neal in the second. Board's dropping back to at least 5th place position now, as Cole Richardson, Bryson Neal, Jared McClure, I believe, have all gotten around now. Chris Borch really having some issues of some sorts, and I have to think that right now Chris Borch is just wanting to finish this race and take whatever points, valuable points he can home, and be prepared for round number 4 coming up in a few weeks. I know that that's a lot to carry, especially with the race that he had going early today, but it's also some great incentive for him to look forward to in the future. As we take a look at some of the other classes we've been talking about earlier today, Drew Landers, Austin Abney, Ronnie Rush, 1, 2, and 3 in the XC2 Pro-Am. Poplawski and Tanner Walker still running 4th and 5th. I see that Kenny Schick is up from 8th to 7th now, as Kowalewski is still 6th. Kenneth Schick in 7th. Walraven 8th. Noah Mickelson up to 9th. One of the better showings we've seen out of him so far in this class this year. And Levi Cohen rounding out the top 10. College A class still being led after 3 by Grayson Eller. Only 5 seconds behind is Dalton Keys in the number 2 spot. Chase Allison, Mikey Nichols, and Cody Forrester rounding out the top 5. Walker Fowler out here near the 7-mile marker now. We are expecting to see him, and there he is with nearly a minute lead at last check over the rest of the field. Walker Fowler on his way home to win number 3 of 2020 and in search of his 6th GNCC title. Well on his way to paving a very fruitful 2020 season. Fowler due in less than 10 minutes now, according to timing and scoring. And as we take a look at some of the results here, Drew Landers is up to 12th place overall position. For those of you wondering, that puts Austin Abney in the 13th place overall position. As we take a look at top amateurs, things starting to change up there just a little bit, as we now see that Tommy Koontz, AJ Koontz, is now 22nd overall position. AJ is now your top overall amateur. Bryson Neal into the 2nd place position. Oh, he's caught in some lap traffic there. Still about a minute or so. Don't think there's been a whole lot of time made up there. Seems like about a minute still between those guys, maybe a little bit more. But as we look a little further back in the overall top amateurs, we said AJ Koontz, the 405 and 22nd overall place. He has gotten around on adjusted time ahead of Grayson Eller, who's leading the College A class. He is now 2nd in overall top amateur. And Dalton Keys would be 3rd overall top amateur. 4th overall top amateur, Brent Hinke, not far off the pace either, in 26th overall position. As you look at adjusted time, he's only 1 second off the pace of Dalton Keys and another 5 seconds off the pace of Grayson Eller. So only 6 seconds separating those two, or those 3, for those top 3 overall positions right now for 2nd, 3rd. And the final podium spots there for those guys. So we'll keep an ear out on that one to see how it all unfolds. Right now, Walker Fowler is due in less than 8 minutes as we watch him from the Yamaha Skycam, and now pick the action back up back here for 3rd place position, where it looks like things may be starting to heat up just a little bit here between Cole Richardson and Jared McClure now as they make their way through the Monster Mile. Or is that Chris Borch back on the gas there, it looks like. Chris Borch is back on it as well. So actually maybe Chris has found and work through whatever issue it was that he had arise out there. Sometimes that happens. It could be motor problems, a little piece of dirt in there or something, and it works its way out. It could be brake problems, it could be a number of things. And when those things sometimes sort themselves out, riders are able to get back up to speed, and we see some amazing feats out of them by the time the checkers fly. We'll see if that be the case here today as we wait with bated breath to find out just exactly what is going to happen out there. Can Chris Borich claim a podium position finish after dropping off to a 5th place position here on this lap? We'll just have to wait and see. And we don't have to wait long, about 7 minutes or so, 6.5 minutes before we'll be seeing Walker Fowler checking in. We are watching Walker Fowler still high above in our Yamaha Racing Sky Cam. Again, poetry in motion for this rider as you watch him manipulate, move this track, not doing anything super special, but just keeping the throttle pinned out there, riding the edges in the duff. And here's that battle for 3rd and 4th place position now. As these riders work their way, Richardson and McClure, this may be for the 3rd and 4th place positions now. Yeah, that is the number 5 machine of McClure back there, and I believe that was Richardson just ahead of him, so that wasn't Chris Borich. I apologize for that. Must be going colorblind in my old age, too. I know that's blue, though. I know that's old blue Walker Fowler. I can tell by the way he's riding with that flawless style as he approaches some lap traffic. You see how quick he got around that lapped rider. Not holding him up any whatsoever, not allowing the second place riders, those second place riders back there and 3rd place riders, 4th place riders, not able to capitalize on that lap traffic. Right now, Bryson Neal, I think, is going to be super satisfied with the second coming back from where he had to come back from there just a few moments ago, as we are watching for that battle for the final podium position out there on this racetrack. So keep an eye out on that one. We should be seeing that one come on screen here in just a few moments. So we'll see who's going to be able to take home the final podium spot here today. Will it be Cole Richardson, or will it be Jared McClure, or will Chris Borich surprise us all and rise back to the occasion after those problems just before the, just after the halfway point? Again, we're looking at Fowler, Neal, Borich, Richardson. Actually, Fowler, Neal, Richardson, McClure, then Borich, then McGill, and Hart battling it out still for 6th. Devin Feehan in 8th. Josh Merritt 9th. He's gotten around a rider or two. John Glotta rounds out your top 10. Looks like Johnny Gallagher is 11th. There's Drew Landers, your leader in 12th place of the XC2 Pro-Am class. He's leading the Pro-Am class, 12th place overall right now. And that puts Austin Abney 13th place overall. Wesley Wolf with the rear brake issues had a great strong ride going in the early part of this, drops to 14th overall. Ronnie Rush 3rd in the XC2 Pro-Am class is 15th overall. Poplansky in 16th, Tanner Walker 17th, Ben Kowalewski 18th, Greg Covert in 19th, and Kitty Schick rounding out the top 10. Here's our battle that we're watching here for the 3rd place position now. As again, that is, looks like in the number 3 spot, I believe, the number 4 of Cole Richardson and the number 5 of McClure, or vice versa, as we'll try to get in a little bit closer on those numbers, but I think that is the number 5 back there in that number 4 spot. And I'm thinking, am I looking at that right? Producers, please let me know. Is that Borich in that position that we're watching right now? That looks like a number 3 almost to me. I'm not 100% sure. We don't have a camera on the ground. We'll try to get a spotter down there just to see exactly. I don't want to miscall this one. I know Jared McClure has a whale of a race going on today as well. That could be the number 5 that we're looking at there. But I'm thinking that that's the number 5 in 4th place. And again, I don't have the best of eyes, but what I do have is the knowledge to know that we've got a barn burner and a real nail biter shaping up for this 3rd place position as they roll toward the finish line right now. Walker Fowler due in 2.5, so we're getting a 5, and a 4 of Richardson and McClure now is what I've been told, so we're going to go with that. So it is a battle for that final position on the podium. Splitting lines out there. Riders trying one line, another trying the other. That's what you got to do. You can't follow and expect to make a pass out there. And you hear a lot of the moto people talk about that. And the same thing holds true in GNCC racing, especially in these close quarters like this. You have got to try to find a different line, something a little faster, something a little smoother that's going to give you some advantage. 1 hour, 53, we'll call it 54 minutes now into this race, and less than 2 minutes out from a checker flag for Walker Fowler, who is, well, hasn't led it from wire to wire, but he was right there in the thick of it, right there, second place across the whole shot stripe. He and Chris Borch, a great battle heading into the woods. He was able to take over the lead. We saw an amazing battle for 2.5 laps between those two, and then, of course, eventually things changed there toward the end of it as Bryson Neal was able to move into position, getting around Chris Borch. Borch has dropped from 3rd on this lap back to at least a 6th place position at last check that we knew for sure where Chris Borch was. Again, I'm one to say I'm not 100% sure that maybe he might not be there in the thick of things for that final podium spot when that checker flag flies, but we'll just have to wait and see while we watch and wait for Walker Fowler. Now less than a minute due in at the finish line. And his 3rd win here in 2020. I believe that will also cap off as we go to the wins count for Walker Fowler. 56 wins to his credit. This will be win number 57 for the WFR rider. 57 wins, which will also put him only 10 wins away from the great Bill Balance in 2nd place in the overall ATV wins record. And here we are at the finish line, winding through. It's been a hard day and a hard-fought battle. The General GNCC couldn't have been named any better because Walker Fowler fought like it was a true war, but he comes across and takes the checkers. Oh, that's not Walker. Sure looked like him. Camera guy kind of fooled me. Now we'll see Walker. There he is. Walker Fowler fought like a real general here today at the General GNCC, and it was a war waged from the waving of the green flag as Walker Fowler takes the win here at the Specialized General GNCC. What an amazing ride there for the number 1 and your defending champion. Win number 4. Boy, did he have his work cut out for him. He's going to tell you, I'm sure, a great race and one of the funnest he's had in a long time getting to race like that with Chris Borch. It's been a while since those two have locked horns like that. The big question is now, how far back and who is 2nd place going to be? Will Bryson Neal be able to hang on to that spot? Will he been able to have bridged any of that 1 minute gap? Technically 59.7 second gap that separated he and Walker Fowler as they rolled into the final lap of racing. We're about ready to find out the end of that tale here in just a few moments. At last check, it appeared that Neal was at least that minute plus behind Walker Fowler. And 48 seconds, so he was able to make up about 10, almost 12 seconds in that last lap. But too little, too late for Bryson Neal as he comes across the line in the number 2 spot. Here we wait now for that 3rd place position. But look at the smile on Bryson Neal's face. Again, a rider that trained in Ohio all winter, said I didn't get a chance to ride any time all winter long in anything above 50 degrees. Most of the weather he rode in was 30s and 40s. So, and he didn't ride a whole lot then. So to be able to come here and muster up what he musters up through these first 3 rounds of racing, even with the issues there a couple of weeks ago, this kid is certainly dialed in for sure. And here comes the battle for 3rd as these riders now hot on the throttle. The war waged here at the General. Who is going to come out on top for the 3rd place position? Lap traffic, going to be a little bit of a problem in that one for those guys. But it looks like that it's going to be Cole Richardson hanging on to the position now as we are headed over the moto track now. Cole Richardson, one final turn before the finish line chicanes. And into the chicanes we go. Final 2 turns, and checkers are out. And that is Chris Borch. I thought that was Chris Borch the whole time, battling for 3rd place, and it was Chris Borch. Doggone it. I had it nailed down the whole time. Chris Borch brings that Phoenix Racing Honda across the line in 3rd place. Whatever problems he had there heading into those last moments of the race, he was able to work through and able to hang on to a 3rd place position. I thought I saw a 3, wasn't for sure. Chris, I'm sorry to take that away from you, my friend, but what a ride today by our 6-time GNCC champion. Folks, I'm telling you, Chris Borch is in store for a win coming up. It's going to be 76 before you know it. I can feel it in my bones with a ride like what we saw today. If he can match Walker Fowler for the entire 2 hours, it's coming. It's going to be a good one. We've seen some great battles out of these guys in the years past, and I think we've only got just a glimpse of what we've got to look forward to here in the future. It is Walker Fowler taking the win. Bryson Neal in 2nd. Chris Borch in 3rd. Jared McClure will take 4th. Cole Richardson will round out the top 5. And we're going to take a quick break here before we head down to the winner's circle with Megawatt Matt Watson in our top 3 overall. But, wow, what a great day today. Big pat on the back to all of our riders. Again, Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Chris Borch will be on our podium. And Megawatt Matt Watson will be down with them in just a moment. Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
So, it's GNCC Racing. This is Chris Borch. You're watching GNCC Racing. This is Chris Borch. You're watching GNCC Live on Racer TV.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here from the Washington, Georgia for the Specialized General GNCC. And what a great day and what a way to wrap this one up here for round number 3. Our top 3 overall, once again, Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, and Chris Borch in the 3rd place position. And Megawatt Matt Watson standing by with our winner.
All right, welcome back, race fans. We're here with today's winner, Walker Fowler. Walker Fowler, one more win, closer to that ever-elusive record number by Bill Balance. Tell us a little bit about the track today and how it differed from years past.
Honestly, other than this place being either a swamp or like it was today, it was about normal. The only dusty spots were these open sections, but the woods were about prime. It's just real spongy soil. You kind of fight the machine all day, real hard to steer. But man, this bike was working as good as it could. Like I said, the conditions are just tough. It's tough for this is a track where a big, strong guy like Taylor Kaiser used to be, or Bryson Neal, these bigger guys. It definitely caters to them. But I just knew that get a good start. That's always good, no matter what you're doing, and just try to run my pace and see who wanted to latch on. And I guess Chris listened to my Sunday stroll comment last race. He was not on a Sunday stroll this one. He latched on, and we put on a real heater those first 2 laps. I yoked him a little bit right before the pits, and I had a real good pit stop. That 6-second gap, just being a turn and a half ahead of someone is just not saying it's demoralizing, but it's really hard as a rider to bridge that gap. And I knew if I could just ride smart, ride smooth, and kind of get 10, 15 seconds, I could build on it. And we did just that. Obviously, Bryson had a real good last lap. I didn't feel like I lost that much time, but I guess I did. But like I said last race, it doesn't matter if you win by 1 minute or 1 second. A win's a win, and we just keep clicking these things off. That's what champions do. We put ourselves in a position to win, and we do our job.
Absolutely. So right now, seems like 2020 going 100% to plan.
Yeah, on the starting line, Hannah Hunter came over to me and said, well, everyone else has won today, so you better make it 3 for 3 as well, because you're the only one left. So she did it. Landon's 3 for 3. So, XC1, I bet XC2 as well. Drew Landers, correct, Mark? Yeah, so all their top premier classes are all 3 for 3 right now. So I wonder who's going to be the first to drop.
We're going to find out. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Got to thank Racer TV, all the fans, my beautiful girlfriend, the Pipers, mom, dad, and Yamaha, Mark Notman, GBC Racing Tires, definitely the whole Lance Mill XC crew out in the woods. Those guys are just incredible, and all these awesome sponsors. Thank you, guys.
Walker Fowler taking the win here at the Specialized General GNCC. That's 4 years in a row that Walker Fowler has won right here. That's 3 wins in a row here in 2020 for Walker. And as he pointed out, all the premier class riders on Saturday are all 3 for 3 right now. The WXC, the 4x4 Pro, the XC2, and your XC1 class riders. Who will be the first to drop? That's a pretty good question, Walker Fowler. I guess we'll have to wait a few weeks to find out for sure as we get set and geared up for round number 4. But right now we are ready to head down to our second place position finisher, Mr. Bryson Neal, who's standing by with Megawatt.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Racer TV. We're with second overall today, Bryson Neal. And Bryson, I just asked you off camera, was it easy as you made it look coming through the pack? I've watched you for years, and I got to tell you, you rode as good today as I've ever seen you ride.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't easy today. Whenever I was going to tech inspection, every time I went to hit my start button, the bike would just take a pause and go, whoop, and then turn. So checked the battery voltage. The kicker battery was low, so I had a brand new battery in stock, replaced it, charged it up right before the race, and as soon as I took off to go to the line, fired right up. So I'm like, okay, I'm good. Do the intros, all that's good. He says 10 seconds, green flag. I'm hitting the button, there's nothing. I'm dead last. First lap, I don't know if something got around my brake line. I had no front brakes, and then I was losing my rear brakes because I was overriding them, and I was just like a yo-yo, man. I was getting tossed around. Guys were passing me. I was passing them back, and getting shuffled. I finally, at the end of lap 2, kind of got around some guys, and I was able to use more of my rear brake and my engine brake. And then after the pit stop, my front brakes, they started to come back. I don't know why or how, but I'm lucky. But I had to ride with my front finger, just keeping that tension. And man, I was able to put in a really good charge. And man, there's Elka Shocks by Impact Solutions, Casey Creek. Those things were floating today. My bike was handling so good. The CST tires, I felt awesome. Gained all kinds of gallons third lap, fourth lap, felt great. Never got tired. I'm super happy. End up with second. Wasn't easy, but hey, I was just talking to myself in my head. I was like, come on, find a way. Like, try to get there. Because on the first lap, it wasn't looking too hot for me today.
You definitely had some great lines. Like I said, you were riding super smooth. It looked like on the camera. Assessment after 3 rounds, and where do we go from here?
Man, we want to win. You know, at Big Buck, we is in second place, and people said that we might have been making up time with Walker. I don't know. That's done and dusted. And Florida, everyone saw, like, I got out front. Me and Walker had a good battle last lap. That's where I want to be. Even if we don't win, I just want to be there in that battle with him. And that'd be 2 seconds in a row now. So hopefully go to the next round and, man, go home and try to get a win next round.
Awesome. Congratulations. Who you want to thank real quick?
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank my dad and my whole pit group, Mike Geen. He came down and drove. Troy and Mitchell Edelblut, my girlfriend Brooke, everyone in the pit crew that helped me out today. I'd like to thank CST Tires, DWT Wheels, Elka Shocks, Hauser Racing Components, FMF Exhaust. My Moose Racing gear was awesome. The new Sahara gear today was super fly. A slew of other people, anti-gravity batteries, bell helmets, EKS goggles, Texiera Tech, Dirtworks, Wiseco Pistons, Cometic Gaskets, 343 Graphics, Tilo Racing Covers, Waynesburg Yamaha, and yeah, man, all the fans is awesome today. So I'm happy. Time to get some Dairy Queen.
There you have it. Second overall today, Bryson Neal.
What well-deserved, no doubt about it. Congratulations to Bryson Neal on a spectacular run for him. And how about it for that third place ride? We'll be talking to next Chris Borch. We kind of wrote him off and dropped him off to a fifth place position at one point, but man, he fired back on all cylinders, came back with a new life and a new vigor to capture that third place position and surprise us all. He's down in the podium, or in the winner's circle area with Megawatt now.
Here with third overall today, XC1 Pro, Chris Borch. Chris, I got to tell you, man, I saw a renewed fire in you today. The bike looked like it was working really good, but I tell you, your body position, the posture, you were aggro out there, man.
Yeah, we felt really good. We got the whole shot there, and Walker had a good line. Ended up getting in front of me, and I'm like, all right, I got to do whatever it takes to run with him. And we were just pushing, was able to hang with him, and we came into the pits. Pits just took a little longer than his. He jumped out, got a couple seconds on us, and then from there it was really hard to try to close in on him, lost some time, and I made a couple mistakes on my own, getting stuck in a couple ruts, and that's when Bryson ended up catching up to me, and yeah, we were able to get it on the podium here.
I tell you, over the last couple weeks now, seen some differences in the performance, but today really looked like a different Chris and a different bike. So making a lot of adjustments now, getting that thing dialed, finding the handle.
Yeah, my Phoenix Racing Honda is working well right now. We're like I said, we were kind of late to the game on a lot of testing and stuff, but we're definitely getting her dialed in now. So hats off to those guys and Maxxis Tires and Moose and all my great sponsors. I mean, it's a whole new outlook for me, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Confident in it, 100%. Confident in that 100% backing by David Eller and the whole Phoenix team. Those guys want you to have the best.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the reasons why I went that route. I seen the operation. I want the best, and I'm trying to perform for those guys, so I'm glad I was able to get it up on here on the podium and just keep working towards it.
Congratulations, man. Chris Borch, third overall today here at the General XC1 Pro.
New life and the new vigor. Do we have something new here? Is the new era, the new, I guess, decade going to bring some new life to the program of Chris Borch? It certainly is looking like it, no doubt about that, as we look out over this beautiful landscape of Georgia. And Georgia on my mind. This will be on our mind for a little while, but we turn our attention ahead in this GNCC series. There's no doubt about that. A beautiful look, though, over the Georgia landscape here from high above in our Yamaha Racing Skycam. And, of course, what a day today that we saw here for this third round of the 2020 season. And folks, I'll tell you, we've got some stars being built and born, working their way through this GNCC circuit right now. And of course, one of those guys is Drew Landers, who just took his third consecutive win in the XC2 Pro-Am. He's standing by with Megawatt Matt Watson.
Hello and welcome back to Racer TV, everybody. You're here with today's XC Pro 2 winner, Drew Landers. Landers 3 for 3 so far this year, man. What's the winning combination? How you making it work?
You know, I've got an awesome machine under me. I got an awesome program behind me, a whole Land Mills XC team. My WFR Land Mills Magnum 1 lubricants machine's just absolutely killing it this year. The bike feels awesome. Yeah, I got some awesome moose gear today. The 2021 stuff felt great out there. My suspension was awesome today. Thanks to Casey Greek from Impact Solutions for helping me get that dialed. You know, it was a rough track. It wasn't easy today. You know, I got a kind of a mid-pack start, got hung up with some guys, and then had to charge from the back. I took the lead there on the second lap, and it took me a little bit to get in the groove, but you know, I put the hammer down, put a gap in there, and finished the day strong.
I tell you what, so far executing the plan 100%, so stay the course the rest of the season, huh?
Absolutely. You know, I want to go into every weekend and win. I don't want to accept anything less.
Drew, they say if it's not broke, don't fix it, and right now I don't see anything broken.
Absolutely. You know, the bike's feeling awesome, I feel awesome, and everything's going good. I can't thank everybody in my corner enough, and I just look forward to the rest of the year.
Congratulations to you, and we'll see you on the podium.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you much.
Winner of the XC2 Pro-Am class, and of course he posted himself a fairly impressive overall score today, as well as we see him checking in a 12th place overall position. As we take a look and scroll down through our results, more looking for our top amateurs on the day. Our top non-XC1 and XC2 Pro-Am riders. It looks like A.J. Koontz is in the running for that right now on time adjustments. Grayson Eller second, Dalton Keys, that's the way we last seen it. They're still waiting to check in. We'll know more about that coming up in just a few minutes, but that's going to wrap things up for us here on RacerTV.com. We'll be back with more GNCC Live tomorrow with a two-wheel action as Caleb Russell continues his final farewell tour, and everyone else continues to lay the chase and hopes to win. On behalf of all of us here at RacerTV.com, Megawatt Matt Watson, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.